it was the European Union data protection directive that was existing at the time. I think I'll have to move a bit much faster actually because we need to have time. So that was in existence in Europe, and that was what we were borrowing from because of the what's it called the 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 vacuum that also provide that was also giving rise to, because it wasn't wholesome in its application. They came up with the General Data Protection Regulation of 2018, and we were also still borrowing from there until Nigeria in 2019 decided that, okay, now it's about time that we took data protection seriously. We all know that when it comes to data protection, it's something that is relatively new. I would say that something that came up as a result of the boom in the internet services that we now have. Now you guys have to go online, download applications. You go on. There's a whole lot of boom with the fintech companies, for instance. You go on those applications and you put your data in there. If you have ever worried about your BVN, right? Oh, you go on an application and they want you to put information such as your BVN and all of that. You're worried if your information will be safe, right? That is where this Data Protection Act comes into place. You go on the site or any other platform and they're asking you for personal information. You will wonder your, what's it called? Your card information. Is my information safe? You're just going everywhere and you're putting your information there. Put your family, your sister, your phone number. Is it safe? These people collecting this data, who are they? You can't ensure that, but you need the services, right? And that is where the Data Protection Act and the Commission comes in to ensure that people are being protected and not being taken advantage of and all of that, right? So that's when, the Nigerian government decided to, okay, it's about time we started taking this data protection seriously. So the first initiative of the Nigerian government was to come up with the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation in 2019. So you would see that it's pretty recent, right? And then the implementation framework that came up with it. But that also did not come with, it was the first time, and as with anything that is new, you would expect that there will be some sort of challenges with it, right? So, but right at that time, the National Information Technology Development Agency needs that. Well, you guys will have to, I think I will have to share the slide at some point. Later to you guys so that you can have it to look at later. You don't really have to start writing anything. Like I said, it's introductory. But there are quite a number of acronyms that you may need to get familiar with, in order to, at least have an idea of what's going on. So on the next slide, you'll see. So this agency needs that. As the name implies, right, it's an agency set up for the administration of all things technology in Nigeria. But this task was put under that agency. It was the best place, I think, the government thought to put it. But when you hear NISDA, you would think that, okay, data privacy, data protection is only something that affects information technology companies, but that is not the case. It is something that affects all entities, whether it is public or private, right? And there is a scope for that, which I will get to later, right? So, but in order for people for this confusion to not arise, right? This function was also taken off NITDA, and then the government came up with this Data Protection Act of 2023, and it was then that the Nigerian Data Protection Commission was now created, who now sits on all things data related in Nigeria. So let's quickly go to the second slide. Here, I just provided these acronyms that I'm throwing around, right? You want to know the meaning and, okay, get a bit more familiar with the terminologies here. So it's the first one is the EUDPD, which I just explained, the GDPR, the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation, which was the first act that was enacted in Nigeria, the NITDA, which is the Information Technology Development Agency, and then the Nigerian Data Bureau. So this Nigerian Data Protection Bureau was created under NITDA at the time. But because now we have the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, they have taken over all activities, and it is being empowered by this current act that is the Nigerian Data Protection Act, right? So now, under this act, so here's the thing. The fact that we have the Nigerian Data Protection Act actually does not abolish the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation. The two of them still run side by side. So in case you go online and you find that, oh, you're still seeing Nigerian Data Protection Regulation, can I use the acronyms just to make it? There are a handful, a mouthful rather. So I think I would crave your indulgence to use the acronyms instead of saying the entire, read out the entire meanings.
Please
So
go
they
ahead.
still run side by side. Okay, all right, cool. So I'm trying to be fast here because we don't really have much time. So now we have the Data Protection Compliance Organization. So these data protection compliance organizations, that is where some businesses here may find themselves falling into that category, right? Not all everybody will need their services because there are requirements for that. But some people may want to render services in relation to this, and some people may want to benefit from the services, but we'll still get to that. Now, we also have the data protection officers. These are the officers now that are in charge, particularly in charge of data protection activities. We have the data controller. The data controller is the entity that is determining for what purpose is data being collected. For instance, let's say I can throw brand names around, right? Like let's say Jumia or Konga, right? Can be the data controller, and an officer in working with any of those companies may be the data protection officer, right? They have their duties and their functions, each one of this. We have the um, the data processor will be working with the brands. The data protection officer works with the data protection compliance organization. But in certain arrangements, you can have a data protection officer being designated if your company has retained the services of a DPCO. So the DPO can be a designated officer based on the arrangements to, help with the, what's it called, with your compliance and regulations. I mean, so that you ensure that your company is not running afoul of what the law has provided or what the law requires of your company to do. We also have the data subject. The data subject are me, you, and everybody else whose data is being collected, right? Now, personal data is personal data, very self-explanatory. It has to do with anything that has to do with your personal information, your name, your address, your phone number, your BVN, all the information any information that makes you particularly identifiable. Anything that, okay, once I publish it out there, people will know that this is this person I'm talking about, right? So, I mean, so everything that has to do with personal, it can be more comprehensive than that. I mean, we may have heard, scandals here and there concerning all this data privacy breaches and all of that, but we'll still get to that. And then we now have something called the privacy audit returns. I kind of put that there. It's not really, it will concern some of us, like I said, I've been saying. So this audit returns is a requirement of the law that now as businesses, we may find that we fall into this category and we have to, fulfill the conditions for this, right? But we'll do it. Maybe we won't get to it in depth, but I just thought, okay, let me put that there so that I make a note of it and, remember to mention this because this is kind of very important for us to take note of. So let's quickly go to a little bit of differences and similarities between the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation and the Act. So like I said earlier, both of them still run concurrently. The newest one was not established, it was not enacted to abolish the previous one. So you will find that there are certain provisions, they complement each other, right? For instance, there's this requirement for annual data protection audit filings, which has been provided for in the NDPR. It wasn't mentioned in the Data Protection Act, but it is still relevant and companies must still comply. So I thought to bring that up, right? So just for you to know that, okay, just because this new act does not say you should do this, does not mean that because it was mentioned in the old act, therefore I mustn't comply. So, I mean, there's a whole lot to unpack when it comes to Data Protection Act, the enforcement of it and the implementation. Essentially because as everything that is new, we will have teething problems. You will have issues with, okay, where do I go? Who do I talk to? And all of those, right? So that's where, I mean, if your organization falls within the category of persons who need services of a DCPO, then it will be wise for you to engage their services because they will help to guide and for you to help you to know what to do and what not to do, right? Because it may seem like it's not something that concerns you, but when you engage professionals, people who have been trained by the commission and empowered and licensed, then they will let you know, okay, if I'm on the right path or if I'm not. Because if you're not, then you can get in some serious trouble with the law or with the commission. So now, but here's the thing: the major difference between the two acts is that the Data Protection Act supersedes. So that's like the superior regulation, the law with regards to anything data protection in Nigeria. So in a case where you find that there is a conflict or you are not sure where to look, please look to the DPA. You get. But like I said, engaging an entity like a DCPO will help answer your questions. That is if you fall into the category of those who need DCPOs, because not everybody, not all organizations need one. So now, okay, let's quickly move on to the next slide. We are looking at the scope of the Nigerian Data Protection Act. Who does it apply to? When do you need one? When do you need to comply with its provisions, basically? If you are the data controller, now, I mean, I just defined what a data controller is. So if you're an entity that is collecting data or you're processing the data of a person and you are domiciled in Nigeria, yeah, domiciled will be if you are, for instance, registered in Nigeria, right? Your presence is in Nigeria, not just residence. If you have a business and your presence is outside the country, but you are registered as a Nigerian business, then you're domiciled in Nigeria, right? So those are related terms are not exactly the same. If you're resident and you're operating in Nigeria, so you are bound to comply by the provisions of the Data Protection Act. Yeah. So if the processing of personal data occurs within Nigeria, then you are bound to comply with the provisions of the Act. And where the data controller, the data processor is not domicile or resident or operating in Nigeria, but is processing personal data of a data subject that is in Nigeria. I hope that's clear. You're not domiciled here, you're not living here, you're not doing business here, but the personal information that you're collecting is of a data subject that is in Nigeria. Then you would also be required to comply with the provisions of this. So, it won't matter now if you are outside the country and then you think that, it doesn't apply to me. You still need to be conversant with this scope and, ensure that you comply with whatever the Act says regarding its data subject. And so now let's quickly go to DCPOs. DCPOs. These are data processing compliance organizations, right? What do they do? In a nutshell, they monitor, they audit, they conduct trainings, and data protection compliance consulting services to all data controllers. Well, maybe not all. Well, all, but I will still qualify that as we go forward. The Data Protection Act requires that all companies and businesses that collect and process personal data of Nigerians, as defined earlier, whether or not they're residents in Nigeria, it doesn't matter. This act requires that they engage the services of DCPOs to conduct audits. Yeah, but it's not only audits that they conduct. They do a whole lot more than audits. They do trainings. They would help with contract drafting. They will help with your privacy policy. They would help to ensure that your processes regarding this entire data compliance is being done right. Now, they are being trained by the Commission. They have a framework based on which they will work. So they know what to do. They know how to do it. But regardless of that, it is not all businesses or all companies are actually required to engage one. If your data, the data that you're harvesting or collecting, right, is up to that of 1,000 Nigerians, then you are mandated by law to engage their services. So, of course, right off the top of my head, I can name companies that are mandated because we can assume, we have more than 1,000 users of this platform. We have more than, for some companies, and this is in the millions, right? So such companies are mandated to actually have to engage the services of DCPOs. But if the data you're collecting is not up to such numbers, you are not under compulsion or mandated to. So you would say that the word used here is mandated. It doesn't mean that if you feel like it, because there are benefits to you having such an organization work with you. It enhances your profile as a company. There's something about the satisfaction of you being able to say, my company is compliant with data protection. I think it's a good image for your company. It gives confidence to the people who use your platform or who use your services. So you're able to say, to brag and boast that, oh, your services is safe because we are compliant. It's like you having an ISO certification for a product, right? You know what that does for customer, what's it called, confidence. You know, when you see an ISO mark on a product, it's telling you this is quality assurance, right? So it's sort of that kind of confidence that having a DCPO does to for your business. So, I mean, when you're thinking about how it affects your money, sometimes it's not about how it directly impacts, okay, how much is coming out or how much is going out of my pocket, but how it's able to translate into sales for you or into revenue for you. So you can start to, I mean, put two and two together and make that connection yourself. Because really, I'm not here to tell you this is how you will generate money from this. If I had the answer, you have to pay me to get the answer out, right? Yes, and that's the truth. Yeah, but it's for you to take the knowledge and to be able to apply it. I mean, do some more research on your own, of course, because we can't tell you everything in 30 minutes, right? But it's for you to now see how, look more into it, delve deeper into it, and see how you can take advantage of it, how you can leverage on it to enhance your marketability, for instance. So that's where that's the relevance of this. So even if you don't have up to 1,000 Nigerians on your list that whose data you're collecting, you can still. And then sometimes you may think you don't have up to, but by the time it crosses 1,000, you may not even be aware, right? So it makes sense if you're on that path to engage one and be ensuring that you are doing things the correct way. So for data, for DPCOs, right? Some of you may be wondering, how do I get into this? How can I register to be a DPCO? How can I go about it? There are 4 categories of entities that the law has actually specifically stated in the Act that can render the services of these DPCOs. We have law firms, we have audit firms, we have IT service providers, and we have professional service consultancy firms. So if your business falls into any of these categories, you're eligible. Now, there are other criteria that you will need to satisfy in order for you to be able to apply to be one. If you want to apply to be one, it's done online, right? But I have certain information that right about now, the process is being halted and you may need to, maybe get to Abuja or something if you want to get this thing done. I'm not sure if you have up to 200 entities registered so far. The last updated list of the website was less than that, but I think there are more, right? I don't know if they update regularly, but if you go on the Commission's website, you will see the requirements that for you to be registered as one. So if you're looking to be one, I would encourage you to look at it. There is, of course, money involved when it comes to registration, but on the bright side, there's also money to be made. You use money to make money, right? So if you fall into these categories, or if you think that you have the interest or the qualification, this is something to look at. And that's also one way in which this affects your business and your money. So, but as to why companies would need to use your services, I think it's also important to look into that. Because if you're going to be thinking, okay, I can do it myself or something, or why would they need me as a DPCO? This is the thing. There's a requirement by the Commission, that all data controllers must do the following. It's a guideline of sorts. An entity as a data controller, you're required to, first of all, read and understand the NDPA. Secondly, you're supposed to develop and implement a privacy policy that is consistent with the NDPA. So now, okay, let me just read all of that through first. Then you're supposed to notify your employees and your customers and online visitors of your privacy policy, and then finally designate at least 1 or 2 members of staff as data protection officers. If you can do all of this by yourself, you may be fine, right? But like I said, it would look like it's not a lot. But when you go through the provisions of the Act and its implementation framework, that is when you will now realize that, okay, there is actually a whole lot here for me to unpack. So while it looks like this is simple, right? When you delve deeper into it, you realize that it's not as simple as it seems. So that's where the DPCOs come into play. So, and you may need to engage the services of one. And then, and then another thing is, if you run afoul of the provisions of this act, you will find yourself in some real big trouble with the commission, right? So you want to ensure that you are in their good books and everything is being done right. Otherwise, it might be, you may lose a lot of money if you don't. So let's quickly go to what the DCPOs do in detail. Or did I take that already? I think there might be a repetition.
I think you've done that.
I did already.
The 4 things that they are meant to do.
No, the 4 things that the companies, that the data controllers are meant to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's for the data controllers. Yeah, sorry, there might be a bit of, because the terminologies do really sound similar, and and I'm trying to rush through this, but I think so. That was so so really I was a bit confused as to what really should I be talking about, because I know that it's not a long one. So I tried to just determine what I felt was important, and then if anybody has interest in this, the information is, you can reach out and we can guide you, and and also you can also do some research by yourself as well online. I think to go through the provisions of the act. That's normally the first place to look at, the act that empowers all this. Get familiar with it, and that would help. So with regards to what do the DCPOs do really? I think I did take it, right? I did. Yeah. Okay. So why is data protection important, and why would you be at risk of, how will it affect your money and all of that? First of all, we're talking data protection, and data protection. It's important to note that it is a provision it's a fundamental human right as guaranteed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, right? The right to privacy, right? So now, if you are giving that right away, that right has to be given away with your consent. That's the number one thing. And that's why you would find that when it comes to collecting data of minors, for instance, you would find that if you go on some sites, many of you, a lot of people don't read privacy policies. So if you are giving your consent away, I think it's important for you to be looking at, because you might, if you are going to what's it called, to take action if your data has been in breach, and then you have willingly signed away something that does not allow you to be able to go after the company, then you're on your own, right? So when we are going on websites and we are doing all of this, I think it's important to at least take a few minutes or seconds to glance through what they're asking you to sign, because you just click and we just go away, and then that's it, right? But we need to be more careful when we do all of these things. So in as much as the Constitution guarantees the protection of your fundamental human rights, and the government is trying to see how we can further protect people and ensure that their rights are not being abused, right? By these people to whom you are entrusting your private information and all of that, you also need to be cautious, right? If you remember the case of I think that's the biggest case in history so far. The Meta Cambridge Analytica matter. I think it was something that had to do with the US elections and tampering, and there was accusations that Meta had abused its privacy policies, and then maybe sold off the information to an entity who used it for a purpose for which it was not meant to be used. Now, in a country like the United States, we know that they don't take things like this they don't take it lightly. So Congress sat on this matter. I still remember seeing Mark Zuckerberg looking very humbled at the hearings then. And then there was a fine eventually, and they paid a whole lot of money as settlement. The figure that's $5 billion right there, which was settlement that they paid to the US government. I think there was another settlement of about $700+ million that went to Cambridge Analytica in this matter. That's a whole lot of money, right? But to my knowledge, that's the biggest in history so far. In other jurisdictions, of course, there are other, there are fines, there are criminal actions filed against companies that are in breach of privacy matters. As an individual, you can also take up a matter if a company has been in breach of your privacy, if they have actually been in breach and able to establish. But in Nigeria, I was saying earlier, this is new. This is, I mean, when it comes to things that are new, there'll be teething problems and all of that. But I mean, you can be the landmark case. And then, moreover, the commission, okay, here's the thing. Because it's new, many companies will still get away with a whole lot of things, even though the commission says, okay, this is the deadline for you to comply with certain things. For instance, if we go back to the first slide, the second one, where it talks about this privacy audit returns. Now, this privacy audit returns is something that is supposed to be filed. It's like when you file your annual returns at the CSA, for instance. It's something that you do annually to the commission. That's the Corporate Affairs Commission. Now, this Data Protection Commission is also saying all companies are required to file this privacy audit returns. That is if you are collecting data of people. So it won't matter if the data that you are collecting is not up to 1,000 persons. So the distinction is that requirement of 1,000 persons is as it relates to engaging DCPOs, right? I mean DPCOs. But now this privacy audit returns, this affects everybody who is collecting data. So even if you are not collecting up to 1,000 data of up to 1,000 persons, or your what's it called, database is not up to that, right? You are still required to comply. The date for compliance, the deadline for each year is sometime in March. So if you don't comply early, there will be penalties, just like you file your annual returns. Late filing comes with penalties and all of that. Again, because it's new, we are yet to see how this really plays out. But as a business person, it's important to start being aware, to be aware of all of these provisions, so that when it hits you, or when you're getting a call or a notice or a visit from the commission, you're not wondering, okay, why is this happening, right? So it's something that we should start being aware of as business persons. This privacy audit returns, I would encourage us to look into it and see how it affects us, so that we don't run afoul of this provision of the law. So here's the thing. Okay, the penalties for non-compliance when it comes to to failure to comply with the provisions of the Act, right, is that you will be at risk of getting a penalty or being levied a penalty of up to 2% of your gross annual revenue, or 10 million naira, whichever is greater. The law, from history, they always go for the greater number. So if your company is not making up to 10 million naira gross revenue, right? So sorry, of up to 2% of your annual gross revenue, or 10 million naira, right? Whichever is greater. So whichever is the greater of the two. So if 2% is the greater number, if your company is making more than 10 million naira gross annual revenue, the commission automatically applies the 2% as your penalty. It's not even your what's it called now, your net profit or your net revenue here. It's saying gross. We know that is a whole lot of money. But I think it's safe to say that this figure would apply to big companies, right? We are saying, I mean big companies, maybe like the telecoms, like the what have you. I mean, those deal heavily with personal data of people. So yeah, it would definitely apply. If any other company is making up to this, yes, it would apply. There is a lesser figure. There's a way it is prorated or calculated if your company is not making up to this. But the bottom line is that the fine is heavy. I think I put this there for the shock value so that you can see how huge it can get. So, but if your company is not making up to this, the fine is still just as steep and as heavy, right? And in addition to this, it is not only the monetary loss that is that matters here. There is also criminal liability, and there's also civil liability in addition to the fine. So your company can still be prosecuted. Somebody can still go to jail. if you have used data collected from people for the wrong purposes, for the purpose for which it was not meant to be used, right? So these are aspects of the Data Protection Act that we need to be conversant of and be aware of. So I think I don't know if this really has done justice to what we need to know with regards to how it affects you and your money. Like I said, anything else will be going in depth into it, and we'll need a whole lot more, like a full day's training for us to be able to cover all of that. So this brings us to the end of this short session. All right. So if there are any questions that you want to ask, I think you can shoot, or maybe
Yes.
send them in right time or something, and then we
Um,
can quickly get this.
okay, Joke, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very, 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 very much. I can see hands are already being raised. So, in a brief minute, let me just quickly summarize, although I don't think I'll do justice to it. Um, this law, that's the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation Act, right, is new because it was finally enacted in 2023. The process started in 2019 with the NITDA Act, right? And it has to do with anything that involves online transactions and anything. Does it include social media? Anything online, as long as you are gathering data online,
As
then
long as you're gathering data,
yes.
you are required to.
Okay, so as long as you're gathering data, you are required to be regulated by this act. And that data you're gathering is for those that are based here in Nigeria, or your business is based in Nigeria, or the people you are gathering data from are in Nigeria. Then you are under this act. Before this act came up, we were being regulated, or we were adopting the GDPR, which is the Global Data Protection Regulation. But as at this year, that has changed to that of Nigeria. There are a lot of nomenclature we need to understand and know how they work, but I'm sure by the time we get the slides, which we will send to you, you will see them and what they mean and what they represent. The scope we have mentioned, it covers any company or individual that gathers data from people that are in Nigeria, or that the company is based in Nigeria and is gathering data. Then the penalties, which I'll just go straight to, is 10%, 2% of your gross annual revenue, or to a minimum of 10 million naira, whichever one is higher. So anybody can be part of it as long as you're a law firm, an IT firm, or a consulting firm. And there's money to be made there, because if you're among the regulators, there is a fee you collect for regulating. That's, for me, is the summary. So we'll go straight into the questions. We have about 2 hands raised. And so I think we can start with now I can't see those hands. Can you imagine? um
Okay, Ayo,
yes, please.
can you just leave the question in the chat? If you see, we'll respond to it.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
But I know that at least if you can indulge us with one of the persons, I know
Okay.
someone raised your hand. Can you please quickly ask your question so that you the rest can drop it in the chat and Joker will respond. There was one person that raised hand, although I know there were like three, but the first one was a lady. Okay. Are you there? Can you go ahead and
Hi,
okay,
Ayo. Hi,
hi.
everyone.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you again. And I would like to say a big thank you to Adejoke for the presentation and for also sharing some insights. Now I know that the data I'm collecting, I also need to render it somehow by March next year. So I'm going to tell my compliance officer to make sure that that is done. So basically, what I will do now is I'm going to share my screen. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
Okay, that is, you want to start your presentation?
Yes, I want to start my
Sorry,
presentation.
hold on. First of all, oh, Joker, thank you very much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. I know she's rushing somewhere into another meeting. In fact, it's in between meeting that she did that, and I think Deep or two, you're in the same situation. So as you are coming now, Joke, thank
All right,
you.
Dayo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Somto would read out your profile for our viewers here now, and then you take it from there. Somto, please go ahead. Go ahead. Somto, Tipo is actually rushing into another meeting.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, our new speaker is Mr. Oladipo Alabede. Mr. Oladipo Alabede is currently the CEO of Clen, a mobile payment company building alternative payment solutions for banks, merchants, and their customers leveraging mobile technology. Prior to joining Clan, he was the group head of digital banking at Sterling Bank, where he developed numerous innovative banking solutions, which has earned the bank a reputation of being one of the most innovative banks in Nigeria. With almost 2 decades of experience in the banking industry, Oladipo Alabede has worked with major regional banks in Africa in various capacities. He is an e-business executive who has risen through the ranks and files of the banking industry, with experience in delivering best-in-class digital products to customers in retail, commercial, and corporate banking space. He holds a Master of Business Administration degree from the prestigious Lagos Business School, Pan Atlantic University, and a BSc from Olabisi Onabanjo University. He was recently a member of the Executive Committee of CEBIH, Committee of E-Banking Heads, as the Secretary for Pricing and Advocacy, where he led various initiatives in the Nigerian payments landscape. He is highly passionate about the Nigerian electronic payment industry and has proven this through his work in recent years across the financial services space in Nigeria. The combination of his technical, business, sales, and managerial acumen has been the compass guiding him through various roles and responsibilities across various and international banking franchises he has worked with in Nigeria. Sadiq Sadips, as he is fondly referred to by friends and colleagues in the tech community, now leads the development, deployment, and adoption of various mobile payment products, working with various organizations in Nigeria to make this a reality. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Oladipo Alabede.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Yes. So I'll just quickly run through my slide. I'll talk about Clean briefly, what we're doing at Clean, and then I'll talk about how it pertains to cybersecurity. The topic I'm supposed to speak on is protecting your financial assets in the new digital age. Clean, as mentioned by the introducer, is a mobile payment company. We are set out to enable Nigerians to start using their mobile phones to make payments. And what does that really mean? Today, transfer is the easiest form of mobile payments that everybody is aware of. But until recently, a lot of Nigerians could not use their phones to make payments at places like Ebano and all those kind of places, all the supermarkets or restaurants and all of that. Why? Because those establishments were not designed to accept mobile payments. Mobile payments is something that we already see happening around the world with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, Paytm, and all those kind of solutions. So we are already working with a couple of banks to help them to convert their mobile banking applications to mobile payments, where people can now use features like QR, Bluetooth, NFC, contact payment methods to make payments outside of the card. What everybody knows that we use today is use your debit card to make payments with your POS. And as time goes on, these infrastructures continue to be more expensive. So we need to look for an alternative, and that alternative is a mobile phone. So very soon, in a few months' time, you will be able to enter a bus and tap your phone on the bus conductor's phone, pay the bus conductor. So that's the vision that we have, and we'll make it a reality very soon. Thank you. So I'm just here's an outline. Um, I'm going to give us like a brief overview of the Nigerian financial system, the importance of cybersecurity, cybersecurity threats in Nigeria, regulatory framework that guides cybersecurity in Nigeria, best practices in cybersecurity. Also, we share a case study of someone I call Otumba Wire Wire. So please look out for that. And then how you can protect your transactions as an individual. All right, so let's look at the evolution of payments in Nigeria. So, in 1998, that was when internet was really available in Nigeria, but not a lot of people know this. Um, and then in 2001, came the GSM. By 2007, we had started hearing of iOS and Android operating systems, and this gave birth to the application development era. Prior to that, we were using Nokia phones and then using at best BlackBerry phones that could not really have a lot of applications on there. Then CBN introduced guidelines on mobile money because now the banks were really built. A lot of apps were already coming to the App Store and all of that. And then in 2011, NIP was really launched. That's like instant payments in Nigeria. And then this gave companies like Pagatech, Feds also started mobile money operations basically. 2012, First Bank launched the first mobile money, First Money service. And then by 2013, CBN had to introduce guidelines on agent banking service. And then by 2015, even though others had already started with mobile money, USSD, I think GT Bank and Fidelity Bank took it a notch higher and started USSD short code for bank transfers for airtime, and everybody is still currently aware of the 737 era of GT Bank. By 2018, we started seeing the likes of OPay, Kuda, and all the other likes that started coming to the market, and they started bringing agent banking, mobile apps. By 2019, everybody everybody was building a mobile app for everything. So there was a proliferation of mobile apps. Everybody had a mobile app, so to speak. All the banks already had mobile apps. Um, Even food delivery companies, everybody was building a mobile app. For example. By 2021, NIPS launched the NQR, which is the first interoperable QR solution in Nigeria, and we believe that that solution is what will help to drive mobile payments. So during that period of time, we moved from cash payments, cash and coins, to checkbooks and passbook. Right now, I don't think anybody uses a checkbook or a passbook anymore. Then we moved into the era of cards and POS, where everybody was issued debit cards, which most of us call ATM cards. And then we found POSs at merchant locations. And then also the same cards were going to be used at ATMs to withdraw cash. Then we started getting introduced to using our card on the web through the likes of Paystack and Flutterwave when they came into the market. Although InterSwitch has started this with WebPay, and then now we are moving to the era of mobile payments where people are comfortable with using their mobile phones to start and finish a transaction, where you can use your mobile phone to transfer to somebody or transfer to a merchant and the POS prints out a receipt, or scan a QR code and the merchant receives the payment. So we're moving into that era, and that's where the landscape or the industry has been during this period. I'll pause if there's any reaction before I move ahead to the next slide. Or do we take the questions at the end? Okay, I think we'll take the question at the end in the interest of time.
Okay.
So who are the stakeholders in the financial services space? We have the central bank, we have the um, mobile network operators and the switches. We have the PSSP, those are the payment solution service provider. We have the PTSP, those are the payment terminal service providers. We have the deposit bank, which is could be a microfinance bank or a proper commercial bank. We have the fintechs and we have the merchants. The deposit banks own the customers. You and I are customers of the deposit money banks. And then the fintechs also create solutions that allow you and I to make payments to merchants. So merchants are the customers. I mean, they are the business organizations that we go to and make payments. So if you go and buy food somewhere and you use your card to make payments on their POS, that person is a merchant or that business is a merchant. I've thought to share all of this information at the beginning so that I provide some context into the conversation that we're about to have around um, cybersecurity. So basically, currently in Nigeria today, cash is still king, it's still the prevalent payment method, followed by cash, debit and credit cards. During the last cashless policy implementation in January, February this year, we all felt the impact where people had to queue in front of ATMs because they needed cash. And majorly that cash was needed for transport and to buy food at the market, and because the market woman was not designed to accept POS transactions anyway. So that's what then we now move to so we now also have mobile payments. We have QR, internet banking. A lot of us use internet banking and use mobile apps to make payments. We have agency banking. Agency banking has been is a lifesaver for many because now you really don't have to go and look for um, a bank to withdraw cash. You can just find a POS person right on your street and withdraw cash. And then we have USSD payments, and then we have the online payment gateway where people still use to make payment for food and other things online. Right. Now, in all of these transactions, we can see that every aspect of what we are doing has currently been digitized, 100%. And as we continue to digitize, what you find out is that the bad actors, or who are the people I like to call benefit boys, are also looking at ways to penetrate and defraud either the bank or the customers of the bank or the fintech, right? And so you no longer hear, you just only hear scanty cases of bank robbery attacks. Bank robberies don't happen physically anymore. They've gone digital. And so you find people trying to attack. So cyber attacks are no longer a question of if, but when. And target fintech uh, practitioners, banks, and everybody in the financial ecosystem. We've actually witnessed a lot of fraud, chargeback frauds, all types of frauds happening um, with with the introduction of smartphones. The convenience that the smartphone has brought cannot be understated, but as well as that convenience is there, it has also introduced a lot of gaps, and which the fraudsters or the benefit boys, like I like to call them, uh, will are taking advantage of. And so the first question we need to ask ourselves is, why is cybersecurity important? First and foremost, is important to protect financial assets, right? Because if we don't put cybersecurity in place, then that means that it's like having a bank with the doors opened, basically, or having your bank account with giving access to anybody to have access to the bank and take your money. So cybersecurity measures are essential for safeguarding financial assets, both for the institution and for the customers. And in this era of digital transactions, because everything is digital, I can't remember anybody writing a check, and even cash. A lot of people don't carry cash like that anymore. So all your transaction is transfer or card, basically. So even the people that are accepting cash too, they're no longer accepting. Maybe you find cash with filling station and bus conductors, but even the filling stations also have POS that they're accepting. So you see that everything is becoming very, very digital. customers trust, to maintain customers trust. If customers find out that this solution is not trustworthy, their money gets stolen, they'll stop using the platform. And so to maintain customers trust, we need to ensure that we have cybersecurity in place. Regulatory compliance, again, banks like the Central Bank of Nigeria has mandated that all financial institutions should implement robust cybersecurity measures and also train their customers on the importance of keep safeguarding their um, personal identification number and other things like that. So, because this non-compliance can lead to a reputational damage for the bank. Business continuity. If a company or a business is has been attacked by cyber criminals, the likelihood of that business surviving is low, especially if they don't put cyber security measures in place. Data privacy. I've also mentioned earlier about data privacy. It's also a thing because a lot of us put our personal data out there uh, when we are trying to onboard to these platforms, and we really need to the fintechs and the banks really need to collect that data because we need to know who we are dealing with. We need to know your customer, know your customer's business, and know everything about your customer so that you are sure that you're not dealing with a fraudster because the fraudsters also take advantage of poor KYC. I've seen people on board on a platform in the name of Chrisland School and start collecting school fees, fictitious school fees, and people selling cement in the name of Dangote cement. Meanwhile, the money is just going to their personal account. So you see all sorts of things in the market. The reputation management, a data breach or cyber attack can damage the reputation of the financial institution and economic stability. Imagine if, as we are sitting down here or having this session, all of us are getting debit alerts on our accounts. Nobody pay attention to this talk anymore. So, and then the whole country goes into chaos because some cyber security personnel or cyber criminal has hacked into a bank's platform from Russia or somewhere, and then they are just taking the money. Uh, so that's really what happens. The economy would just crumble almost immediately. So, um, like every other country, Nigeria experiences um, a range of cybersecurity threats. The most ones you'll find are phishing attacks. This is when somebody tries to get your sensitive information and then use that sensitive information to unlock your account and get in. I've seen a scenario where somebody sent a friend of mine um, a a promo that from MTN that he has won a flat screen TV, and that to claim the flat screen TV, the person needs to click on a link. Now, in clicking on the link, is asking the person for his bank details. So I'm like, Chief, why? What is the correlation between winning a flat screen TV and your bank? So obviously that is somebody fishing for information, and immediately he puts that information in there. Obviously, they are going to start receiving debit alerts in his sleep. We've seen people clone the website or the landing page of a bank, so it looks like your bank's website, but it's really not your bank's website. And then when you put in you think you are logged into the internet banking, they'll tell you that your BVN needs to be updated. You should go in there and all of that. By the time you do that and put in your username and put in your password, you're giving everything. Then somebody now calls you and says, they are going to receive a PIN now and all of that, and then you give them the PIN. That's it. So that's how phishing really works. And phishing also speaks to social engineering. So what I've described is social engineering, where they exploit human psychology to manipulate you to divulge confidential information. They tell you that federal government is giving a palliative of 80,000 naira for you to get it. They need to give them your bank details. So that's social engineering. Ransomware is the when they deploy like a malicious software that will encrypt your data, and then what they do is that for you to be able to decrypt it, they will ask you to pay a ransom. This happens to major companies. I don't know if people have watched Game of Thrones. If you have watched Game of Thrones, there was actually a particular incident that happened during one of the seasons where cyber criminals actually got decrypted the movie, and then they had to ask the owners of the movie to pay a ransom in Bitcoin before they could release it for people. And this is, if not, they were going to destroy it, delete it, and the owners of the business couldn't do anything about it. So it's not only in financial institutions, but I'm just giving an example to show how there are insider threats. So what we've also found is that um, people have some of these fraudsters are becoming more sophisticated. So um, they're also introducing people into the environments of the banks so that they gain access, and then they give them something as a cut and all of that. So we also have to be mindful of people that have access to information and privileges that they have. Um, Advanced persistent threats, we call that APT, is more sophisticated types. Targeted attacks aimed at organizations to for over an extended period. Recently, we also experienced ours where a fraudster tried to attempt onboarding on our system 58,000 times in less than 24 hours. But good enough, we have very strong cybersecurity protocols in place, so there was no there's no attack there. So there, I mean, there are quite a lot, but I'm in the interest of time, I'm going to skip some. I'll share the slides with the team. So how do you protect yourself? Because Dipo has now told you that everything is all doom and gloom, but no, you can protect yourself by using strong passwords for your um, mobile banking, internet banking, and all those kind of platforms. Um, I always like to tell people password is not a password. So when you, you meet some people and they say, "What's your password?" They'll say it's password. So that's not a password. Your date of birth is also easily guessable. Using your surname or your middle name is guessable. So you have to use strong passwords with alphanumeric characters. More than eight is is most advisable. Enable two-factor authentication whenever possible. Enable two-factor authentication. If you look at payments in Nigeria, most of the time they will ask you to put a pin and then to authorize the transaction. So that's what two factor is more about what you have and what you know. So what you have, if you are doing a payment from your mobile phone, you have the mobile phone with you. So obviously it is you logging into the mobile app. What you know is your PIN. So when you put the PIN, only you're supposed to know the PIN. So when you put the PIN in, that's two-factor authentication in the simplest form. Um, there are phishing scams as well, like I mentioned earlier. You can, for other business, you can regularly update software. When you're using other people's Wi-Fi, be careful, especially avoid using public Wi-Fi. That is not really prevalent yet in a lot of places in Nigeria. So you don't really find Wi-Fi at the airports and all those kind of places, but you find Wi-Fi outside of Nigeria. Please be careful. You need to constantly educate yourself on the trends and what is going on. Be cautious with personal information. So how you share your personal information, even on social media, people post everything about their life on social media. I wonder how people know so many things about them. I think it's very, very important to be discreet at times. When you take a picture in front of your house, the number of your house is showing at the background. So now I know where you live. So basically, it's easy, and every time people do stuff, there's a digital footprint on everything that you do. So be careful on how you put that. Limit access, only share your financial information with trusted individuals. Secure your devices, so put a pin or lock your device so that only you, maybe you open it with your facial recognition or biometrics to get into your device. And then also periodically monitor your accounts. Make sure you get SMS alerts or even log into your mobile banking app to just be sure that everything works. For bigger companies and for everybody, there are a lot of cybersecurity best practices. So I'm not going to bore you with a lot of this information, but I'll just really speak to the ones that I think are quite important. But all the information is there, right? First, in websites, when you go to a website, check for that website security. That website needs to have HTTPS, because if it doesn't, it means that you probably might be able to you might be putting your card information on a fake website. And what you find is that most Google and some other browsers will always tell you that this website is not secure and should not put. But a lot of people don't read those things; they still ignore it and put their details. So avoid public computers as well, or networks. I mentioned that earlier. If your card is lost or stolen, you can report it immediately. Some banks have already put something in their mobile banking app to where you can report your card, or you can even utlist your card immediately. Um, Use secure banking apps. So make sure that it's your banking app that you downloaded from the app store that you are using for your. And then, like I said, protect your PIN. Your PIN is a personal identification number. It should not be shared with anybody. Nobody should know your PIN, because in the event that you give your driver or somebody the PIN to go and withdraw cash for you, that person knows your PIN. So if anything happens, the bank is no longer liable. So you need to do that. In terms of regulatory framework, I'm trying to be fast here so that we don't spend too much time. Um, in Nigeria, there are several key cybersecurity regulations and guidelines that have been introduced by CBN. And here are some of them: the Cyber Crimes Prohibition Prevention Act of 2015. This act addresses a wide range of cyber crimes, including unauthorized access to computer system, identity theft, online fraud, and more. It outlines the penalties for cyber criminals and provides a legal framework, because that is the bedrock. The CBN also introduced cybersecurity guidelines for deposit money banks. Those guidelines are available on CBN's website. CBN risk-based cybersecurity framework and guidelines for payment service providers. That is also available on the CBN's website. And then operations on electronic payment channels in Nigeria. You'll find all these guides available on CBN's website. And consumer protection framework. I think a lot of people are not aware of the power that they have and the rights that they have when it comes to consumer protection. So my recommendation is for everybody on the call this morning to go ahead and take a look at this the consumer protection framework, because then you know your rights, especially when a fraud does happen on your account. CBN KYC, anti-money laundering, AML regulations is also there. And KYC is really, really big. You know that in Nigeria, we don't have a central database of everybody in Nigeria. So it's very, very difficult to track people down. And so a lot of fraudsters are taking advantage of that loop as well. And they are using it to commit all sorts of crime, including money laundering as well. I'm going to play us a very interesting video. I call this guy Otumba Wire Wire. Please pay attention and let's please let me know if you can hear the audio.
Yes, we can hear.
SIM transaction, SIM transaction. So SIM transaction local wire any last SIM to lo bank máa ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ẹ̀, máa yọ owó lórí ẹ̀, máa withdraw, máa tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n mú SIM fún mi sìn bí ẹni àlásìn pé wọ́n á tẹ kóòdù yẹn *425 *100# tó show bank ẹni ẹ̀ ń lò. So one access bank ló show, one access bank ẹ̀ ń sìn máa dial *901 *00#, ó máa show account balance ẹni. So tó bá show account balance ẹ̀, tí bá fẹ́ reset pin ẹ̀, ó máa béèrè account number ẹni yẹn àti date of birth ẹni yẹn. Tó bá béèrè méjèèjì, báwo ló ṣe máa mọ̀? Ó ti account number yẹn wọ́n máa ń save ẹ̀ sórí contact. Àwọn máa ń save ẹ̀ sórí contact. Àwọn mọ̀tẹ́kùn kì í save ẹ̀ sórí contact. So tó bá rí account number yẹn lórí contact ẹni yẹn, BV ẹni yẹn, wọ́n á fi wá gbé details ẹ̀ jáde. Báwo ló ṣe máa mọ̀ jáde? *565 *0#. So tó bá gbé jáde báyẹn, màá register. Tó bá register bank ẹni yẹn, màá máa ṣe transfer. Màá change PIN máa register. Tó bá change date of birth yẹn, date of birth wọn kì í change ẹ̀. Tó bá date of birth yẹn, ó máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ yes. exactly account number àti date of birth wọ́n ní kí n create pin màá create pin kí n máa ṣe transfer mo ṣe máa ń ṣe ní ìgbà mi máa tẹ́ pé àwọn account tó bá gbé salary account ni màá fi yáwó màá fi loan bẹ́ẹ̀ ni sà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tó bá gbé salary tó bá gbé kò sówó ń bẹ̀ tó bá gbé salary account ni màá fi loan. Ó yẹ àwọn mú àtẹ́pẹ́ 15,000 àwọn mú àtẹ́pẹ́ 20,000 àwọn mú àtẹ́pẹ́ 5,000 ó yẹ jẹ́ ní ẹ̀sà.
Ìgbésẹ̀.
tó bá rí. Sorry, I'm still on it. Sorry about that. There was a break in transmission. I don't know what. But I mean, basically, what has happened is that this guy, if you look at him, you think that he's an illiterate guy, that doesn't know what's going on. But this guy is very, very literate. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's taking advantage of the gaps in the system. Basically, what they do is that when they steal your phone, they do a SIM swap. When they do a SIM swap on your phone, because a lot of people don't lock the SIM cards, so they do a SIM swap on that phone, and then they use the same. They dial all these USSD short codes to get your BVN, and then onboard you onto the mobile banking service or internet banking service of your bank, and start to remove money from your bank account. And like you said, if there's no money on the account, it's still fine. What they will do is that they will go and borrow money from PalmPay and all these other guys from you on your behalf, and then that money will be credited to them, and then they disappear, and then all those PalmPay guys are chasing you up and down. You're wondering what happened. So and it all starts with the mobile phone. Like, so this guy doesn't need to get a gun. He doesn't need to. All he just needs to do is get somebody's phone stolen, basically. And people that even steal the phones know him, so they bring it to him. He's an expert in financial services for the criminal world. So basically, that's it. And I think that's the end of my presentation. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much, Tiko. We really appreciate. A hand is already raised. That's God George. You go ahead. But I just want to quickly ask, based on your last delivery now, but they move this money to other accounts.
Yes.
So is it not possible to track that and catch them? Because usually nobody talks about that. Even the kidnappers and all those fraudsters, they always move the money to another account. Is it that the people cannot be found?
Yeah, so basically for somebody that borrows, it can be found. I mean, there are instances where the accounts have been found, and what they probably also do is that because they have details of other people's accounts, and those people don't know that they have their details, right? They move it to those people's accounts, and then they move it to a final beneficiary account, or they spend from there.
Wow.
Right? They convert it to Bitcoin. They use it to buy USD. Once it's gone into those type of things, you can't trace it anymore. And then when the police goes to meet the original owner of the account, the owner of the account says, "I don't know what happened. In fact, they've stolen my card and all of that." So that happens a lot. We also see that money going into all these betting companies. Once it goes in there, at times they use it to buy airtime for their girlfriends and wives. So once it buys airtime, again, you can't fault people from sending airtime to somebody else, So that money is gone. So that's basically how this fraud is perpetrated.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. God Day, you wanted to ask a question? God Day. Is he still there? Okay, Ruben, please go ahead. You want to go ahead with your question.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. That was a very insightful one. So, and it's really scary. I remember when I lost my phone in January. And I just knew that my phone is my bank. Where they just took the phone, I just rushed to the bank to do the needful. But again, so that's to say that the power is in the SIM. That's what this whole thing the power is in the system. So what do you advise we do to our sims even now as we speak,
I mean,
so that yeah.
if you can lock the SIM, and if you remember the PUK, just lock the SIM. Because if the SIM is locked, nobody can unlock the SIM but you.
Oh,
What
okay.
happens?
Okay.
Sorry, what happens to
What's
those
that
people?
link again? Yeah,
What
what's
do you
that
say?
link again for locking? Please let me. I used to have it, but I think it's not
I
top
don't
of
know the
mind
link.
right
I
now.
can't remember the link, to be honest. But I mean, I think is a PUK. When you go to the settings of your phone, you should be able to lock the SIM.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know some people that PUK number, they will copy it and save it as a number on their phone and actually call it
Yeah, that
PUK
doesn't make sense.
number.
That doesn't make sense. You have to save it somewhere else.
Hmm.
Save it somewhere and put it in a
Okay.
safe and lock it away.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Dikpo? Because I know Dikpo too is ahead. David Alehe, please ask your question. After you, Mohammed Omotosho. So David first. David Alehe. Your question. You unmute yourself first.
All right. Good morning.
Good
Good morning.
morning.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm joining. I actually joined late because today is our service at church, so we just closed the church as I came. So I've not been able to actually gather enough information. Um, please, we want like please, if you can just give a brief um of what people actually discuss, or if you can help me make the video of all this copy of what actually happened today, so that I'll be able to go through again, go through them.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
thank
you
you.
for your question. At the end of this program, I think by next week, the videos will be available on our YouTube channel. So then we will send it to YouTube by emails. So you will see, you can replay the video and get all the details you want on this discussion. So Mohammed, please, your question. Mohammed Omotosho.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
so I would like Mr. Dipo to re-explain. I think what I want him to explain is on his second or third slide, where he was talking about APT. I think I'm misunderstanding. I'm not getting something right there. APT. I think that
Advanced persistent threats.
yes. I would like you to re-explain that concept, sir.
Okay, um, so an advanced persistent threat is a kind of threat where it's a targeted and sophisticated threat to your system. They want to penetrate your system and be able to extract information from your system. Maybe if you think about a bank, for instance, they will probably want to get into um, the bank's customer information and be able to use that information to defraud the customers, for instance. So this is a targeted stress. It's to infiltrate the financial system, and it's to leading to data theft, espionage, or all of that. It's really very, very sophisticated. It's done by guys on the dark web and all of that. So it's something that is part of the threats that we face as a country.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hope that helps.
so I think I would like. Is there any major similarity or differences between this APT and
Video.
DOS attack? Because with your explanation, I think with my own level of understanding, I think they are similar.
Yes, they
Well,
are. They are. They are. There's a lot of similarity around that. Hold on one second, please. Coming. Yes. So for the persistent threat, like I mentioned when I was talking about it, I was talking about how somebody tried to onboard into our platform 58,000 times in less than 24 hours.
yes.
That's a persistent threat. It was generating OTPs like that. So the guy was hitting a brick wall, but it continued. Now, DDO most of the time looks like, how do I deny traffic from coming to your service? So basically, it overwhelms a network and then denies people from rendering. So if you want to do a DDO, for instance, let's say there's a service like Netflix, all right. You want to people are enjoying that service from Netflix, but you sort of overwhelm that network where people cannot even access the Netflix service. That's a DDO, which is quite different from a threat to penetrate the platform and extract data. Do you get it now?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Vanessa has a question, but she has still not typed it.
Okay.
So when she finally does it, if we are still around, we'll try and respond. Okay, she has now. She said, my question is career-based. I am an information security analyst or officer. I just finished my training and I'm ready to get job engagement. Vanessa is applying for work in Klein. So we'll discuss that one later offline.
All right.
I'm
Thank
sure
you.
if you go to their website, you will see the details of how to apply for jobs in their company.
www.clean.com.
Okay, www.clean.com. I think that's their career section.
Yeah.
So Neka has a question, and Nelly, you can go ahead and ask your question, Neka.
Okay, sorry. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Deepo. Hi.
Hi.
And hi, Ayo.
Hi.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So sorry, my voice is a bit funny. Okay. I've listened to and I've learned a lot from what you said, but it seems like in Nigeria, I don't know if that I think that was really covered. I know you mentioned something about that. The cyber threat also seems to, I mean, apart from the larger ones, of course, like I said, breaking into, maybe other through phishing attacks or something like that. Through WhatsApp, I see
Yeah.
where I see increasing cases of where people's WhatsApp are probably hacked or something. I don't know if that would be a cyber threat or just a
It
scam.
is.
I don't know what we'll put it as, and then somehow the hacker is able to, or let me just say, or somebody that's supposed to pay money to somebody, gets a message from somebody else, with the same details and everything, maybe not the same account number, but how the person knew that person was supposed to pay money for something, maybe to buy something and all that. And somehow the money gets paid through all those new digital, I don't want to mention names, those digital payments platforms and banks. Yeah. So we call that, I mean, that's what we seem to see an increase in.
Yeah,
Yes, it
that is called social engineering. So
Okay.
first and foremost is they have been able to get the person's WhatsApp number, access to the person's WhatsApp number or profile, and then from there they are able to send messages, random messages to all the contacts of that person, and then of course for some contacts it might look like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to pay this person money, and then they just pay the money to the person. Most of the time they always beg for money. They say, oh look, I'm stranded in VI. I needed something, or somebody is sick. They needed something. I'll return the money back to you. And because you already know that person, you think that, okay, yeah, it's my friend. Let me send the money to the person who will obviously return it to me. Like if I send a message to Ayo now and tell Ayo that Ayo, I need 500K today, that I'll give it back to you on Monday, because right now where I am, my card or something, my bank has blocked or something. I was going to believe it because he has known me for a while, and he'll send the 500K, not knowing that somebody else defrauded, somebody else has created that profile. And I'll tell him that, oh, the 500K is going to somebody, that I need to pay that person. So that's really what happens. And it's called social engineering.
Okay, thank you. So how do we mitigate? Because if you're in a group, can most of these things are access through
Yes.
groups, WhatsApp
Yes.
group? So yeah. So how do you
So
mitigate as
basically,
a member of the group?
before you pay anybody, or if somebody sends you a request to send him money, I think the first thing to do is call that person, just to be sure that that's the person, that's the real person, and the person really needs the money, or and all of that before sending the money. And then especially if the person is asking you to send the money to somebody else's account, not their own account. Do you get? Because if you are sending the money into that person's account, then you obviously know that the money is still with the person. But if I send you a message that I need 200,000 naira and I want you to send it to Aya's account, then it has a comma or a question mark there. I think that's how you can protect yourself.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's true. The issue is we have to stay sharp nowadays.
Yeah, the economy is
Many
tight.
these people are being as creative as the
Honestly.
system. As the system is being, the people too are being creative. Let's just stay sharp. Always look out for what's the difference in the system. Like somebody
Yeah.
called me on WhatsApp and said he's in a group I'm in, and based on the fact that he's in that group, have a meeting. I said I didn't see the announcement. I said, well, yes, I should go and check. But while checking, there's a code that just got me. I should call the number for him. I had even called the first number before my brain said, guys, if you have a meeting, and which way is that there a link or something? I told him, hold on, let me check. He said, no, I don't need to check. He has told me, I told me, so I give it. He said, no, okay, what happened? I should give him the code there, I can go and check. I still said, insulting me. I have told me, I think like that. Of course, I started laughing, obviously. I caught him as a call. But it's about, we have 2 more hands raised.
That's social engineering.
Yes, we have 2 more hands raised, and I'm very sorry. Those are the last 2 because Dikpo is in the middle of a meeting that he came for this. And please, Dikpo, we really appreciate this. Really, really appreciate. So that he came for this now. So after these 2, you can always drop your messages or send or something so that people can go back to his meeting after these 2 hands are raised. Then also, please note, we dropped our attendance on the chat. So please click on it and fill so that you can also get these videos for your replay as in the links once it comes up and any other information, because people will drop a lot of information for us. We would always send to you. So the first person is Abiola.
Chat, please.
Yeah,
he's on the chat. Okay. Abiola Olaolu, please go ahead with your question.
Thank you
Abiola
so
Olaolu.
Yes, so I joined the call late, but it's quite very interesting, and I really appreciate the effort of you guys. So my question is this, right? We know all of us receive all those scam calls very frequently nowadays. Okay, but one thing I found out is that when they call you, they want you to confirm certain information. It's like they're actually pushing you to say yes to some of these questions. Is it really possible? I mean, is there a technology available out there that is able to utilize your voice or confirmation of certain things to be able to access your bank account, for example? Is it not far-fetched, or is there actually a technology out there that can utilize your voice to be able to access your information? Thank you so much, guys.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for that question. I think that if in terms of if there's a technology out there to mimic your voice or mimic your face or anything like that, that technology is currently available with the introduction of AI and all of that. So we call it deepfakes, right? But the truth is that is not available yet in Nigeria. What I mean by it's not available yet in Nigeria is that on the corresponding side, on the mobile banking or the internet banking or the banking infrastructure in Nigeria does not support voice recognition, facial recognition, and all of that as part of authentication and authorization for your transaction. So if somebody is calling you and getting you to say yes or no and all of that, they cannot get access into your banking account. No. What they really have done is that they've tried to onboard you onto the mobile banking or internet banking platform of your bank. They've put your BVN and put some certain information that they have. They now need you to confirm the OTP that was sent to your phone. So in asking you those questions, they're asking you, are you not Mr. Kolawole? You say yes, because they want to confirm that it's Mr. Kolawole that they have called. Because what actually happens is that they have a list of customers that they are calling. So they want to be sure that this is Mr. Kolawole that we called. Do you have an account in Access Bank? You say yes. And that's okay. We are going to send you an OTP. Then they send you the OTP. And they tell you to call the OTP for them because they don't have that OTP. But as you are calling the OTP for them, they are repeating it because the other person is already sitting on the computer inputting the OTP. So immediately you complete it, they say thank you very much. They cut the call and you start receiving debit alerts.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. I think that is all for now. So, like I said, Dr. Dikbo Alabede, we are very,
Thank you
very
very much,
grateful.
sir.
Thank you very much.
You have
God bless
inspired my
you.
heart forever.
Please let us, by using our emoticon, give a round of applause to Dikbo. Thank you so much. He has really done well for us. I'm sure we all learned a lot from this session. We hope you'll be available when we get back to you again. We are targeting doing this sometime next year, the physical session, and then it will be in a bigger and more formal fora. So we hope you'll be available, because this program is every other month. Like the next one is in February. So, and we plan to keep doing that. So that is our contribution to the populace. Like now, some people like that Mr. I think Omotosho will not be he will not be defrauded of his money anymore with this program. So please, Dikbo is the MD CEO of Klein Limited. They are a fintech company. They are into mobile payments, right? And
Yes.
if you need anything, please go to claim.com to reach out to them in terms of partnership or mobile payment services. No, their
Or
technology is the
general payments.
latest, so it's better. Okay, general payments too, and their technology is the
Yeah, so if you
latest,
want
so it's not like those ones that give you errors.
to,
Please
if
go
you want
ahead.
a
Go ahead.
POS, for instance, for your business. Okay, so if you want a business POS for your business operations, you can go to our website, register, and then we'll deliver a POS to your store or your business. If you want to receive payment online, there's a payment gateway as well, so you can also sign up, and then you integrate it to your website, and you start receiving online payments from customers. The good thing with the POS is that you also, apart from accepting your traditional card, you can also tap your phone on our POS, and then it will accept the payment and print out, or you transfer or scan a QR code. So that's what we are bringing to the market. Thank you. Thanks, Ayo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please, another round of applause to him as he leaves. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks,
So
everyone. Have a
now,
good weekend.
thank you. Thank you. We have the next speaker coming, but I wanted to ask, we are supposed to take a 10-minute break. Do we go ahead, or do we just continue with the next speaker immediately? Because that's rounding up of the program. I need your feedback. Do we go ahead, or do we take our 10-minute break?
Let's go ahead.
I think we should go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the next speaker, Somto Chukwu will introduce him, but I want to confirm. Bruce, are you available? Bruce,
yes,
are
I
you
am.
available?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
I am.
okay. Awesome. So Somto Chukwu, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, sir. So our next speaker is Mr. Ikechukwu Louis Bruce. So Mr. Ikechukwu Louis Bruce is a result and value-driven IT specialist with over 8 years of experience and certifications in Linux, Oracle, AWS, Azure, ethnical hacking, and cloud security management. He is the lead cybersecurity specialist at Descasio, a leading technology solutions provider that helps transform businesses using technology, where he leads a team of tech professionals towards providing high-end cybersecurity services to business and government organizations. He is married to a beautiful behavioral therapist who happens to be a female, and they are blessed with 3 unique heritages. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ikechukwu Louis Bruce.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon. Can you all hear me?
Good afternoon. You're welcome. We can hear you.
Good. I must tell you, Mrs. Adejoke and Dr. Dikbo, as Mr. Malga Ayo calls him, have done justice. I must tell you, whatever they have said, just take it. That is what it is. And for Mr. Dikbo, he told my line, and he has made my job actually very, very easy. Standing on all existing protocols, to permit me to appreciate the convener of Cyberfusion, who happens to be Mr. Ayo here, and his team, COINBOX, and Mr. Ruben Carlo. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Now, everyone here, the buzzword is cybersecurity, and I'll be going into I'll be creating scenarios for us. Everyday scenarios that most of us have experienced, either heard, either seen, or either it has happened to us, to see how we can, from the first line of defense, start protecting ourselves. Because when people hear about cybersecurity, they think it's one expensive. No, it's not actually expensive if you just know what to do. So I'll be sharing my screen right now so we could proceed. Let me know when you could see my screen.
We can see it.
Okay, good.
Sorry, I can see it.
Okay. Can anyone else feedback? Can we all see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. Protecting your financial assets in a digital world.
I can't see it, but I don't know if others are saying it. Okay. Oh, yeah.
You can see. Okay, good. Fantastic. Cybersecurity and finance. Yes. To know they said the heart of a man is where his treasure is. As Mr. Dikbo was saying, Dr. Dikbo, he was saying that if while in this meeting now we start getting arbitrary alerts, none of us will concentrate again. Because why? The finance is the cocoa. So now, how do we secure that finance? Most of us use online payments and the rest. So let's delve into it. This wonderful tech guru said something. He said, if your business is not on the internet, then your business will be out of business. That's the very known fact. And we're on the Bill Gates. So today we have people buy Bone Street hair, forgive me ladies, online. People buy food online. People pay their kids or their guardians' school fees online. People pay for their transcripts on their universities online. People move online. People do practically everything online. During the COVID, I have a friend who wedded online. So everything practically has gone online. So the premises for this is that if your business is not online, you'll soon be out of business. That is one key thing we should know. Now, if our business is online, how do we safeguard it? Most of us have brick and mortar businesses, and one thing we do for sure is that we put security men there. We put security cameras there. Whereas when it comes to online, we just say, no, let the internet handle it for itself. That's not true. The code by this big tech guru lays the premise of what I want to discuss today: cybersecurity and finance. When you say cybersecurity, it means securing your laptops, your phones, your workloads, your servers on the cloud or in the cyberspace. Now, before we go into, let's have a growing volume of the financial data in Nigeria. Mr. Adejoke talked about data, but I want to just hit it on the finances as regards every state in Nigeria to give us a sneak peek. Now, from what you have here, these are all states that have generated internally generated revenue since this for 2020. The accurate figures for 2020. I want to use that as a case study. It stated that the growing volume of financial data is making it increasingly difficult for government and businesses to track and manage their finances, but it's also creating a new opportunity with the aid of technology. Mind you, when you hear technology in this case, it's both for the good and for the bad. I'm an ethical hacker, and they call us the white hat hackers because we help organizations find those areas that they are vulnerable to attacks. But we have the black hackers. They don't send you. Once they see a vulnerability, they go there, they take your money, and they yank out the system. Some will take your money and tell you that, know what, pay us 20%. I have a friend of mine who in Lagos here, they run a financial organization, not a bank per se. Hackers hacked in, carted away 100 million naira. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. And they went to the MD and told them that, sir, we need 20 million out of this 100 million. The man said, we'll call police. He called police. we all go to jail, but our guys keep on swindling your accounts steadily. Either you give us 20 million, we give you your balance 80 million, and we'll tell you what is wrong with your system. Bet you me the man had to give them the money. And so that this is what is wrong with your system, and please correct it. If not, we'll come again and take more money. So the Nigerian government is working on developing new financial management systems to improve transparency, accountability, while businesses can use financial data to develop new product services and improve efficiency. Why I showed you this thing was that practically most of the states in Nigeria are all here. And all these are money generated from all these states. And these monies go with data, and they're also in the banks or financial institutions. How safe are they? That's the question we should ask ourselves. Thank God Mr. Dijoke talked about it. These are online payment solutions we need. If I know that, I've put Mr. Dikbo's on here, Clean, InterSwitch, just to name but a few. These are online channels, so you'll be abreast with them. Now, I want to go to scenarios. Mr. Dikbo has made my job easy, so just basically, we're going to touch on what scenarios, phishing attack scenarios, how does it happen, and ransomware attack scenarios. So let's go to phishing attack scenarios. So I want to watch this video. Some of you must have seen it, but let's see how I can watch it. Let me know if you can hear the audio.
Excuse me? Madam, where are you running? What happened? Please help me. Please give me your phone. I have to call Dad. Some people are behind me. Which goons? Where are they? It's okay. Let me handle and let me call police also. No need to do that. Just give me your phone. I have to call Dad. You remember the number? Tell me the number. I will call. Okay. Huh? It's switch off. Yeah. Show me your phone, please. Let me call my husband. I don't remember his number. But when I dial, I may recall. Okay. His phone is also off. It's okay, ma'am. Don't worry. Let me call the police. They will handle themselves. No need of that. I live in this colony only. I will go. Thank you. Yeah, Anu, I met a strange girl. First she said some boys are following me, and when I asked to call police, then she said she lives nearby and man. Hurry, leave now. Could be a crazy girl. Anu, what's this? You have debited 4 lakh rupees from your bank account? Yeah, how 4 lakh debited from my account? And I didn't buy anything. Did you tell your OTP to someone? No, I didn't get OTP either. How would I tell? Or else you must have tapped on an unknown link. No, I didn't tap any link. So how it could debit it then? Let me visit the bank once. That girl must have done something. Yes, you are right. She did. Who are you? And how do you know? I'm Inspector Sanjay Sharaf, Cybercrime Branch. Many complaints were coming from this area that people are getting frauded. So we looked in and found out. But sir, how can someone get money without OTP and bank details? She will tell herself. Bring her. Tell them. How do you fraud with them? Actually, we do frauds forward calls and messages. What does it mean? Means their phone on the text of and on that. All calls and messages are forwarded to our number, and through their OTP, we empty their entire account. What? Did you see how good method it is? People's calls and messages are going to someone else, and they don't even know. How do you take advantage of someone's trust? People won't help anyone after this. Don't you feel ashamed doing this? And yes, your partner is also caught. Play OTP game sitting in jail. I will recover your money from them. But be careful in future. Thank you so much, sir. You saved my money.
And we will take care from onwards. Before giving phone to anyone, you must check whether he is doing anything wrong.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now good. That video, I want us to now interact. What can you get from that video you watched now? Because I saw the video and it was quite interesting because it's another dimension of attack for phishing.
A damsel in distress just defrauded a guy that was supposed to help her.
Good. And the
guy
method in
wasn't
which she
thinking.
used to
His own was that he was
he wasn't
helping
thinking,
woman.
yes. Yeah. Well, that's true. Helping the woman. But the truth of the matter is that most of us, we can find ourselves in this scenario. It could be an old woman that might come. So it's not about the person. It might be a child. Sir, my mom, I want to call my mommy. I may say it's a child. Dial the number. Let us be cautious. Because now your phone is where all your online apps are. They might just go to your online app, do one or two things. You don't know what they have done. Before you know anything coming to that particular app, they will have access to it. So that's another way people access. It's a form of phishing. They take hold of your device, the power in your device. You unlock it so they can do anything they can do on it. Now, the second scenario is the ransomware attack scenario. Now, picture is small business owner who opens an email attachment that contains ransomware. The malware encrypts the company's financial data, and the cyber criminals demand a substantial ransom in cryptocurrency to unlock it. Mr. Dikbo just made mention about it. For the guys that HBO that produced Game of Thrones, it was a ransomware attack. And those guys were anticipating for the next season. It's coming. And then that if you don't do the necessary, we'll wipe it off. There's no money for you. So they had to pay. So these are all of us, when you're dealing with cyber criminals, you must think like them. Sorry to say, you must try and think like, okay, this my particular data I have, financial data I have. Okay, how can I attack it? And how can I protect it? That's why that's a cyber professional who thinks more like a policeman will not get anything done. I tell most of my colleagues, the effective cyber security professional is one that thinks like a policeman and also thinks like a thief. Forgive my use of words. Because that's where you can also to tell your organization that my organization, as of now, we are protected in this way. And in this way, and in this way. They'll say, how do you know? Say, because I tried to access it and I could not access it. I did that for one of our organizations. I tried to hack into our servers. I could not have access to it. And I told the leaders that, yes, we are secured in this for now because I can't access into it. So these are two scenarios how to be aware of phishing attack and ransom. Let us be careful. Don't click on anything that you don't understand, even in your organizations. Anything you don't understand, don't click on it, please. So how do I protect my financial assets? These scenarios have played out, and to avoid these scenarios, we will need to pay attention to three concepts: people, process, and technology. I call it PPT, PowerPoint, PPT. People, process, and technology, of which Mr. Dikbo mentioned it. But I just want to cascade it down so that we can all understand the granular feel of it. Now, coming to people. Number one, hire the right people and train them frequently. If you don't train them, don't blame them. Hire the right people. If you are starting up as a small, you're a small business, you don't have that power to hire a cyber professional. That is where Cyberfusion and Mr. Ayo comes in. Reach out to him. He will tell, okay, you know what you do. You can pay retainership. Don't worry, we'll provide that service for you. So hire the right people. Okay, if you have hired the right people, Mr. Aya as well, see the COINBOX as Cyberfusion, we can train them for you. Train your guys to empower them, because it's not about you can hire the right people, but the knowledge they have is about 2007 knowledge. And in the IT space, knowledge is obsolete every month. I was privileged to download a particular OS meant for cybersecurity guys. of which I've been using the one that's been obsolete since 2013. But I got a new one now, and that is showing that I want to improve myself. So as I said, educate your people frequently, if possible, once in a month. Educate them, because technologies are becoming obsolete at the speed of light. Educate them frequently. Then the next one is the process. But the process, enable multi-factor authentication and passwordless process for your critical workload. And also, let me stop at that before we go to the next one. MFA, not MFA is. Some of us log in with our username. I tell people that password is not a form of, doesn't save you. It doesn't save you for your finances. Fine, for your apps, you might use your password. But as time goes on, I've already recommended that to some financial institutions that should find a way to start giving people. We have free authenticators. Google has, Microsoft has. You can work with them so that you can save yourself of trying to give people physical tokens. My bank now, I went the other day to go and ask for a physical token. I know the banks want to make money, but what if someone loses the token? How much can you be producing per time? Why not align with, you can create an online authenticator app where people can sync their account with it, so that once they are logging in, it will request them to go there and generate a number for themselves only. So that is what multi-factor authentication helps us to do, coupled with passwordless, because the world is moving towards passwordless, whereby you don't need password anymore. Once I know that it is your device that is connected, I send you a number. You go to that authenticator, I'll put that number there, it authenticates it without any form of password. That's very quick. That's your process. And also now go to monitoring financial accounts. Mr. Dikpo said it. Regularly check your bank and your statement, your account balance. It's not a crime. Just check it. Your accountant should be, let's check. That's the way you can detect. Because sometimes it could be even in the midnight. You might be sleeping. And most of us are not aware, even to your kobo. Hackers are very smart. Okay, every day, can I be taking 50 kobo from this man's account? It might look very insignificant. 50 kobo Monday. For the whole year, 50 kobo. You know what that will amount to? I need to do that for several accounts. Maybe they target a particular bank, maybe ABC Bank. And for over 10,000 of their customers, they're taking 50 kobo every day. You might think it's nothing, but at the end of the day, what it will amount to might be great. So most times, let's try and check. And this will help you detect any form of suspicion. Look at this scenario. Picture a scenario in which an individual sets up an MFA for their investment portfolio. And even if their password is compromised, there's also an additional layer. Oh, yes. Additional layer of verification. Oh, if someone hacks into your password, hacks everything, it will ask, okay, this particular number I'm sending to you now, can you get me the authenticator app where I can fix number so I can approve you? You don't have it. That's what Mr. Tipo was talking about. You don't get generating OTPs that they cannot even use. Imagine if that particular workload was only username and password, the hackers will have their way. So every day, with the help of AI, security is becoming more terrible, but also more wonderful for those who know how to handle it. The last one is technology. This is supposed to say, cybersecurity. No, I cannot. No, it's very simple. Invest in credible security monitoring and detection tools. Password manager, they have it. You can download it, it's free. So you can manage all your passwords for you and your colleagues. There's intrusion detection system and also intrusion prevention. There are SOA SIM solutions that are open source, that is free. Firewall, access control lists. See, what can secure your business, even as an individual, doesn't cost you much at all. Doesn't cost you much. So the notion that cybersecurity is very expensive, no, it depends on the value you are getting. If, for instance, now you are a small online payment and you have a cash value, people have their cash worth over 2 billion naira. Is it 20 million naira you cannot invest to secure it? So it's relative here. So it depends on what you're actually doing. I'll move to the next one. The financial consequence of a cyber attack. Because I like putting money and figures to everything. If you have a cyber attack right now, as I give you an example of a man who they stole 100 million from him and he had to part away 20 million so I can save 80 million. That's how it works. He was lucky that he met some guys who take over the whole 100 million. And for that business will practically crash. So the financial consequence of a successful cyber attack can be devastating for businesses of all size. Doesn't matter whether you're an SME. In short, once you're an SME, it's even dangerous because that business goes comatose immediately. The big guys can manage to find their way around, but once you're an SME, you are gone. A 2020 study by IBM found that the average cost of a data breach is now $4.24 million. That is the IGR of some states put together in Nigeria, just for one breach. So a 12.7% increase from the previous year. I can say that again. So it's going to be increasing more and more because why everybody's business is going to what? Is going to the internet space. Yes. The study also found that the average time to identify and contain a breach is 280 days. Sometimes the hackers might just be in your system, watching how you do things. Oh, just harvesting your passwords, knowing what time you do your financial transactions, so that at night they can do what they need to do. These financial losses associated with cyber attack can be categorized in two major types, either direct or indirect. Direct losses include the cost of remediating the damage caused by the attackers, such as restoring data, repairing systems, notifying affected customers. Indirect losses may include loss of revenue, reputational damage, and legal costs. Whichever way you look at it, these are all critical damages. You might say, okay, in my organization, we have a backup. I was consulting for a client that was last 2 months, and they had a ransomware attack. Luckily for them, we had to do a backup. So that backup was restored. But I'm telling you, that period of time, staffs were apprehensive because we don't know who they're going to sack. Fine, it was within. They just harvest their accounting informations. So it was backed up. The hacker asked them to pay money. The hacker is in America, say pay money. So I'll release your document. Lucky enough, they had a backup. So for about 7 days, business was down. You might say enough. It affected them 7 days for a business to be down. They've lost money now, indirectly. So these are things that you must, every hack, whether indirect or direct, it will cost you some bit of harm. So statistics on the financial losses associated with data breach and cyber incidents. The average cost, as we said before, the average time is this. Now, the healthcare industry experienced the highest average cost of data breach at 9.23 million per breach. The financial service, the same thing at 8.65 million. These are big money. This is collected for the whole world in a year. So cyber attack cost the global economy an estimated 6 trillion per year. According to Cybersecurity Ventures, 6 trillion per year. 6 trillion. That is the economy of the world powers. Canada's this thing is worth just 2 to 3 trillion per year, and yet cyber attack globally is cost 6 trillion. So the developers, they pay attention to it. In addition to the financial losses, cyber attack can also have significant impact on the business reputation. A study by Ponemon Institute found out that 60% of customers will avoid doing business with a company that has experienced a data breach. Beloved, I'll tell you for free because I'm in industry. Most of our banks have this breach, but they will not tell you. Do you know why they will not tell you? Imagine if Lagbaja Bank, I don't mention any bank's name, has a breach now, and you, the customers, get to know. What will you do? I'm asking a question. What will you do? Maybe ABC Bank has a breach and money of their customers is being stolen. What will you do? And people on the call, what will you do? And maybe you have like 1 million naira to go and deposit in the bank. Will you go and deposit the money in the bank? Hello? Hello?
Yeah,
okay.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I was asking the question that, for instance, now a bank, ABC Bank, has a cyber attack and money was taken away from the bank. And you have 1 million naira to go and deposit in that bank, and you heard the news. You go and deposit the money in that bank.
No way.
No, on my way to the bank, I'll miss my way.
No.
So I'll leave home planning to go there, but I'll miss my way to where I know their money has not been stolen. I mean, they've not had cyber attack.
Good. So most of our banks actually undergo these things, but they have PR guys that will keep it hush hush. But abroad, they have freedom of information. You have to sing it out. You sing it out, you go through your fines, then you use your PR to remediate it. But over here, we kill it, it doesn't go out. But if it goes out, the bank is going down immediately. So that's one of the consequences of cyber attack breach. Now, another example is in 2023, Target suffered a data breach that exposed the personal information of over 40 million customers. The breach cost Target an estimated 202 million in direct losses and 100 million in indirect losses. In 2017, Equifax suffered a data breach that exposed the personal information of over 140 million Americans. The breach cost this company 4 billion in both direct and indirect. In 2021, Colonial Pipelines, it's another company in America, suffered a ransomware attack that cost them 4.4 million in ransom payments. These are just few in America. I know in Nigeria we don't mention it, but with the kind of laws we are bringing in, that we professionals are asking the government, that will help us. Because if people get to know that, because I must say it here, that most of our big organizations, your banks, your FCMGs, fast consumer moving goods, they don't take technology serious. Some of them use, some of them use as Windows SP server. Some of them, yes. You might say, yes, some of them uses it. When they say, kilo, it's not working. Yeah, famous code to be, if it's not broken, why fix it? It's working for us. Leave it that way. And those OS are legacy OS. Windows SP, Windows 7, Windows 10 as a server. It's already, what are you talking about? This is our old. By the end of this year, Microsoft Server 2012 will be updated, will be outdated. It's become legacy. But some banks are still using it. I stand to be corrected. Last 2 weeks ago, I had to upgrade like four of their servers from 2012, 2019. So most of our banks, they just take it carelessly. But in America, they don't try. Once it happens, they investigate you. Apart from these fines they are paid, the government will hammer them another fine as well again. So most of them are and fine is expensive, but they're trying to keep up.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm very sorry to cut you, but it's a lesson I've learned from Joke.
Yeah.
It's not most of our banks. Many of the banks you know of in Nigeria, you understand? Many of the banks you know of in Nigeria have on their server system is not updated, so that COINBOX will not be liable to litigation. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, everyone.
No issues. Okay, in conclusion, cybersecurity in financial management is not just a technological issue. It's also a fundamental aspect of financial responsibility. Adopting strong cybersecurity practice is essential to safeguard financial assets and ensure long-term financial stability. Well, here are some reasons I want to prefer why cybersecurity is a financial responsibility. The first one is financial institutions are prime target for cyber attacks. They are the core in every food chain of any society. They are the first. After them, you get to the healthcare sector. From healthcare, you get to maybe entertainment and media. Entertainment and media, you can also cascade it down to maybe some small SMEs here and there. But for every organization, it's either the financial sector and the government, then healthcare, media. So cyber criminals are attracted to financial institutions because they store large amount of sensitive financial data. Every data about my family is in my bank. That's the truth. Because in my BVN, in my NIN, my wife's name is there. Her phone number is there. My children's name are all there. Where I live is there. So once they can target me, they know that, okay, this man has a wife and 2-3 children, a family of 5. I've got target one person, gotten 5 informations. And they can use that to say, okay, let's go and rob them. So these are things that we as a country, thank God that likes of Ms. Ejoka came. So we have to really talk about. That's why Cyberfusion has come to create that awareness, because we need to have that awareness. Everybody needs to have that awareness. So large amount of data, from financial data, account numbers, credit card information, to name but a few. Also, cyber attack can cause significant financial losses. As I said earlier, a successful attack can result in theft of customer funds, fraud, and reputational damage. So these institutions must be required to pay fines and penalties for regulatory violations. I've always said that in my article that I wrote to the government, the new minister, that you just need to start implementing this ASAP if they fail to adequately protect customer data, as Ms. Joke said. So cyber attack can disrupt financial operations. We all know that. I've given a scenario. So one way we can do that is that let's start implementing strong security controls, encrypt sensitive data, educate employees, and have a plan in place to respond to cyber attacks. Yes, I tell most SMEs, if something happens now, do you have a plan in place for any cyber attack? Because don't say it will not come. Assume it will come. Now, once it comes, you have a plan. So once that happens, I tell them, just for every of your work, you have a backup. It might be expensive, but at the end of the day, you are going to thank me. Have a backup. Or you have a server where you do your activities. Have a backup of that server somewhere. So in case something happens, you can resurrect this one again back, and your business will be going on. Okay, there are some basic benefits for adopting strong cybersecurity practice. It will reduce regulatory risk. By the time we start getting ourselves as a nation, you find out that if you are adopting the right practices, you're not going to be paying unnecessary fines. You'll be complying. It will improve customer trust. As Tayo said, if it's going to a bank that's been hacked, it will go to the next bank that's not been hacked. So your trust will increase if you're actually doing the right things. They also create an overall competitive advantage for you as well, because in the digital world, cybersecurity is very, very key. And overall, cybersecurity is a fundamental aspect of financial responsibilities for safeguarding every form of financial assets and ensuring long-term financial stability for any economy. I hope with these few points of mine, I've not been able to confuse you, but to convince you that we need cybersecurity in every of our financial dealings. Thank you so much, and I'm open for your questions.
Dr. Bruce, thank you very much. We really appreciate. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
sir.
thank you very much.
Thank you,
I think based on the same time we started, let's just go straight into the questions. I know while you were talking, some people raised their hands.
Okay, yes, I
those
can
hands
answer
are
the
down
questions.
now. Okay, Abiola Olaolu, please go ahead with your question.
Thank you so much. I mean, this has been very, very useful and interesting. See, I know that some of us might have come across some video clips of some guys that were caught recently. Maybe not even recently. These clips are all over the place. I mean, these are guys they don't sound very educated, but they speak very intelligently. In fact, they were actually very boastful about how easy it is to hack into some of our banks and financial institutions. I mean, and is it that very easy? Is that some place where they gather that knowledge, or are there some schools out there that are teaching them on how to hack into those financial institutions?
Okay. Now let me answer that question. There's one saying that my mother used to say, that is the rat in the house that tells the rat outside that there's a fish somewhere that our oga has not swept into the dustbin. So that's the premise I want to start from. Sorry to say, Mr. Ayo, but I just have to say this. There are some insider guys in the bank. See, Mr. Abiola, if, like, for instance, now, it happened to me. There was time that I was doing Forex business and I was making some wins. Dollars was entering my account. There's one that got found out.
Confession.
On a Saturday, I was working. All of a sudden, $33 left my account. I nearly had high blood pressure. $30. So then, not when dollar was 1,000. No, then when dollar was like 500. I nearly just, what's this? I had to call the bank. Say, please stop my account. I said, stop asking my account is a video player. Stop my account. Stop my account. So they have observed the trend that money is into this account. How much? And it's in dollars. Let's see how. There are insider trading going on, and there's no form of regulatory supervision. I must be honest with you. Sorry, I'm telling my guy that I know I'm not trying to criticize our banks, but that is where it starts from. Someone needs to say, Mr. Abiola, there's an account here. You have guys, let's see how I can take some money from there. That's what happens. And these guys know what these guys now do. They'll now go to the dark web. Dark web is a place where everybody goes, and they buy tools for as low as $10. They buy those tools. Some of them is even free with the condition that if you hack, we'll share the loot. It's in the dark web. They have their own browsers. They have everything that they will use. The ones they hack, you can't even trace themselves. As an ethical hacker, I have those tools, but I don't use them for bad things. I use them to help my customers. So these things I understand where you're coming from. The bank itself has to see how they can really sanitize the inside, because there are guys doing the things. They'll say, just call the person and sell him a phishing attack dummy. That's why this your BVN, we have sent you a PIN. Once you start, you'll now just have to wipe your money off your account, or they find a way to say they can get your details and not boldly just start removing your money. And when you go to the bank will say, you are the one that authorized it. How can you sue? If you sue, the case will be long. Do you have the lawyers to embark on that? So when I talk to fellow men like me who are not actually in the system, I tell them the honest truth. That's why most times I was privileged to meet someone who knows the Minister of Digital Communication. And I said, see, we have to start implementing regulatory sanctions for all our banks, FCM, and the rest. Because things are going on. So there's a connivance somewhere. That's why we need hard, strong regulatory compliance to save our money. That's why most old women don't want to bank with the banks. They don't want it. They are scared. My grandmother, they said, no, don't go. Let me keep my money in my wrapper. Don't keep. If I want to put the bank, maybe just 10,000. Tell her money. She puts it under her bed. Mama God said, I don't want to. Don't tell me rubbish. Because to them, there's that fear that they can't trust the system.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Abiola, for that question, and Bruce for the response. So to create balance, I would also add, I used to be a banker. At some point, what you are saying, I was in charge of it. So let me bring in another angle. A bank, the average bank has an average minimum of about, that's commercial banks now. They have about 6,000 employees. So of those 6,000 employees, like our elders say, in the house of a big man, there would always be one black sheep. So you have one or two that might decide to be funny. But you see, the architecture of banking is built on trust. And that trust, if the people cannot trust themselves, then automatically there is no banking. So the issue is that as banking is built on trust, the employees, the information of all the customers is open to the employees on the basis of that trust. That one, your customer trusted you with their money, that's why they gave it to you. Then two, you trust yourselves, that's why you can share the information for the banking work to go on and go ahead. But the issue now is that some people get tempted. So the bank does a lot in the process of minimizing, if possible, eliminating this risk of internal negative information sharing. But, you can do only so much. But I can assure you that from the fact of a former insider, banks do a lot to minimize it, but human beings will be human beings, okay? So that is the reason. But that now a lot of bankers are the ones that do it. I am sorry, I have to defer. I'm not saying they don't do it, but not a lot. The issue is that some people, we've had bankers that were arrested and it's not their doing. They were with their friends, they were gisting, they were talking, and then a name comes up. Oh, I know that person. Oh, he has so laughing. Maybe the person is drunk at that time. So that's human error, you get. So it's possible. But over 90% of the time, this I'm telling you for free, up to the fact of a recent situation, which I will give you the story, it is an insider of the person that has money in the account that did it. It's not from the bank, but an insider in that person's place. Then second reason is usually also the carelessness of the person or should I say the negligence of the person that owns the account. So for those two, I'll bring up a story. First one is there was this woman that walked into my branch then and said somebody stole from her account as the money was taken and no other person she stays alone according to her. And so no other person has information about her account except we, the bankers. So she wants her money back. We did our investigation, just like Louis, you said. We found out that from the login was done using her, what do they call this thing? There is this device. The OTP was from her, which the bank in any way cannot generate that OTP. It is you that generates your OTP. So they said, Madam, it was from you. Well, what do you want us to do? There's nothing, because now it's from you, which, like you're saying, you can't sue. She now insists, but of course, for us, there's an avenue to investigate and find out what really happened so that tomorrow we can prevent it. So in the process of investigating, you are the only one that stays in your house. Yes. All your bank details is with you and with your bank. Yes. Who else has access? No one except you. Really? Are you sure? Investigate. Oh, her son comes around once in a while. And so she sends him to the bank once in a while. But according to her, between that time this happened and now, he has not been to the bank. He has not been to our house. So it cannot be him. We said, okay, that's fine. But when was the last time? Oh, a long time ago. We saw it, as in they could prove that he came a long time ago. So we now went to security cameras to find out who came to collect the money. That's the cash now, when this transfer was done from her account. Lo and behold, the CCTV shows that day, that money was debited from her account and transferred to another account from which this withdrawal was made. Her son was inside the bank, as in he came in. So we did investigation, and now, they had the guy brought in for questioning. Now, this is the police, which the guy owned up and said, yes, a long time ago, he had access to our banking details, but he kept it. It now happened that in that period, he had need. He was pressed for cash. So he just decided to use it, and he came to withdraw the cash. After all, it's his mom, so there was no big deal. But, that's how the bank was vindicated. And many times I can give you a long list of cases of like that. The bank will be said, is the bank staff, is the bank staff. At the end of the day, it's someone. Then there was this other woman. This one is even very recent, like a month ago. She said, oh, I will never give my money to the bank. She does not accept transfer. She does not accept checks. She doesn't accept anything except cash. So my own was, Madam, you sound like someone that is very pained or that has been badly hurt by the bank. She said, yes, they are thieves. They steal her money. They are terrible people. You don't even trust the staff. I said, that's true. I agree with you. Those people who can steal money. She said, yes. I said, so based on that now, can you tell me how they stole money the last time? She said, very easy. She brought out her phone. This is not a smartphone. The phone that is not smart. That's how she transferred money to her account. She brought out her phone and then she left it on the table that's in her shop. She sells food, and went and came out. The next, she started getting debit alerts. I said, okay, did you give anybody your phone to use? Just that your video. Did you give anybody your phone? She said, yes. Her friend came, and when her friend came, wanted to make a call to call somebody, that her network wasn't going. So she gave her friend that one. So her friend used it and then gave it back to her. It was in front of her that the friend used the phone. So what am I trying to imply? Am I saying that a friend that she has known for all along is a thief? No, I said, no, madam, I've not said. I just wanted to know. And I said, who was the person that this your friend called? She mentioned who it is. I said, so it's someone you know. She said, yes. I said, can we find out from that person whether that's your friend called this person that day? Of course, she was now very angry that I'm calling her a lie. I said, no, this is money matter. It's always good to really be sure of, who and where. And she brought out the phone, checked the number. She could not find the number of the person she said this person. There's call log. That number wasn't there. So we now called the person and confirmed. And sadly, the person said that woman, that's her friend, has not called her in a long time and has never called her, within this period we are saying. So, of course, she got police. We arrested the friend. Friend confessed that is someone that told her how to press code and take money from her account. But, all this while, she has been selling to her customers. She's a woman that sells food. And every other person that it was from the bank that money was stolen, is bank staff. That, for her, there is no other way because she didn't give anybody the code or, password or anything. And then they told her, oh, I forgot to mention that too. That is only when you have smartphone that they can use your phone to steal money from the bank. So if it's this normal, so she put all her banking details on this non-smartphone. not knowing that there's a code you put on the phone and they still get your banking details. Which she was now. I said, it's not me you apologize to. You have to go back to all those people you told that it was the bank that stole your money, that it wasn't the bank, it was your own error. Of course, she flared up because she's a woman with a quick temper. Fleeted, but I left. But mine was, that's something that was clarified. So we note, I said many bank staff has been arrested and sent to jail over this issue of insider trading. But when you say out of 6,000 people for the average bank, one or two, I don't think we can now blame the banks completely. You get it? Yes, the bank might have their shortcomings, but saying that, putting it wholesale on the bank's head is just one or two staff. But when we now talk about we as individuals, our negligence, our alertness, and our security consciousness, and then the people we have around us that we feel, in quotes, you trust them, not knowing that they are the ones, knowing that you can easily blame the bank, let's not take it wholesale that this is how it is. The issue is that generally we need to be careful. We all need to be careful. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic, sir. That's great. Let me just take one more question from Mr. Madam
Neka.
Neka.
Yes. Neka.
Thank you for that. Hello. And you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation about we supposed to talk about passwordless. You mentioned the password manager. So it's a three-pronged question I have. In that our has almost all our details, right?
I'm sorry, is it me or Nika? I can't hear you.
I thought that's much.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Yes, it's breaking up.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay, all right, sorry. So I was saying that you mentioned about the multi-factor authentication.
Yes.
And then you going passwordless very soon, yeah?
Yeah.
And the world is going password, and then you use of password managers to store passwords. So I have like a two-pronged question.
Okay.
Now, yes, multi-factor authentication, yeah, I love that. But then I'm thinking, when you talk of going passwordless after a while, our mobile phones are almost like our whole lives now. It's like
Definitely.
they just carry over the hair. We have all our information on the phones. And with this era of phones being stolen at almost on a per second basis, if we go passwordless, because I believe that at least that password, since it's known to you alone, even if the person's phone is stolen, and there's any other thing, maybe a code sent or whatever, and all that, at least that password is still some form of additional security. I don't know. That's my own perspective.
No,
I don't know.
I get your point very well. Why we say passwordless is that most times your application, when you are launching it, to ask you for a password. After like a period of 60 days as well, you might be doing password. When you want to enter, can you enter your password again? That's why I call it multi-factor authentication. So as time we now progress very well to passwordless. Even with passwordless as well, there's going to be a code. If your phone is stolen, like for instance, now I use a Microsoft Authenticator app or a Google Authenticator app, or any Authenticator app that supports passwordless. Once my phone is stolen, quickly I get a laptop, log in, and I remove that phone from either Microsoft password or Google password. So if that person steals that phone and tries to log in on my bank or anything, it will ask him, okay, now that code, this code I've sent to you, can you put it on the password? If he tries to do that, tell that, sir, this thing has been removed. You get me? So it's that proactiveness of, okay, as Mr. Kalu said, his phone was stolen, he ran to the bank immediately. Me as well, my bank was hacked, I called the bank. So once you know that your phone has been stolen, every detail that is important to you, make sure you disenfranchise it from that particular phone itself, so that you don't get into any form of trouble. An issue of passwordless, it is the future, because I crack passwords. I have a tool that I use to crack. If your password is not that sophisticated, I can crack it. And what happens? Now, if you're only using just password alone, it's easily crackable now. There are AI tools already that will crack your password. And it's very easy. I'm telling people that are not in school, just pick up the tool and they will use it. So why keep yourself with that kind of barrage of tools, informations, applications, to only just an app, a username and a password, that might not be good, especially for your banking applications. It might not be fair. There's some limits you want to transfer. They will ask you for your token. The banks will ask for your token because kind of money can't leave the account without a security authorization. So the reason why it's done that way. So it's the way to go. So whenever such happens, please make sure you find a way to remove that authenticator app from that phone. That way you will cripple their activities. I hope I answered your question. Yeah.
Yes, you have. That's why cybersecurity thing is always so scary.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, it's scary.
Okay, how safe is the use of the password manager? Actually, I personally, I'm always very skeptical that this thing that you're going to download and store your password on online again. Everything online is just like, it just exposes you.
Yeah, it does. It does. The password manager, it will help you because, for instance, now it's not good to have one password for everything. Some people use their password for Facebook.
Yes, I know that.
For their banking application. So once a smart hacker knows that already, okay, if for instance you use ABC Bank and it's your Facebook account, I crack your password, I go to ABC Bank, I can log in, I go to your YZ Bank account, I can log in, or your GJ, I can just use one password and access everything. So password manager helps you to manage all those things at once. And I guess there's an SLA for password manager that they will not sell your password out. If they do that, you can sue them. There's an SLA around that. So let's try and read SLA. So we'll say agree. There's an SLA around password manager. They'll just keep your password and they'll secure it for you. So in case you are going to a site, okay, my bank site, okay, which password you want to use? Okay, it's that of my bank. It just surrendered for you. And also make sure that your browser is also locked. Sync your browser to your username of your laptop. That way, if you want to do anything, it will ask you for a password. So it's a journey. That's what Cyberfusion is. It's a journey. We're going to be educating you on how to do these things. So
it says sync the browser name to the user.
No, sync your username and your password to your browser. Okay. I do that very well. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess you want to access any app on my browser to tell you, okay, what's your password of this particular system? If you don't have it, or yours is your case. You get me? So that password manager can help you do that as well, very well, to help you store different passwords.
Because some of us are getting older, remembering so many passwords now.
I can understand that. Okay, Florence said that how does financial institutions protect customers? I guess Mr. Ayo has said that already, but it's not about the financial institution. You yourself take responsibility. I guess from all the stories we shared, fine, the bank has a fault, but we as well, we also have a major fault. So try and make sure that you don't give your PIN out and be cautious about your financial details. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hello, sir. You didn't answer the second part of that question.
Okay. When your funds have been fraudulently withdrawn, as is done in the protect. Okay, customers. Okay. Okay. When your funds. Okay. For funds, that's why there's going to be an investigation. Once your funds have been withdrawn illegitimate, as Mr. Ayo said, there will be an investigation. Know who is right and who is wrong. Initially, we might say, okay, the bank is wrong. Sometimes the bank also, they are wrong. But sometimes we are right. So that's going to be open for investigation. There's no one stick to say it's always the bank or it's always you. So once you open that door for investigation, we will now know who was actually right and who was actually wrong, and lessons will be learned. That's why the bank, they hammer it all the time. Please don't give your BVN out, your PIN out. They always hammer it every time. But sometimes I guess we don't take note of that. So financial institutions, they will protect your money. And if it's their lapses that cost your money to go out, and if, for instance, now ABC Bank in Nigeria was hacked and money went out, and I get breeze of it, I'll go and sue. And you as well can sue. So the bank will just say, no, what? They will settle out, no, sue. That's what the bank's trying to be afraid of. So the bank most times try to up their game by investing in technology, by which you can do more. So whatever happens, investigations will be carried out to know who is right and who is wrong. In developed countries, this is what they do. Before they now bring on the sledgehammer to say, okay, you are the one at fault. So investigations will have to be done first of all to know who is right and who is wrong when it comes to money matters. So I'll be able to answer your question now.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. But I want to talk on the swiftness, because we had an experience in the US. We booked, we're on a holiday, we booked from Nigeria, hotels and all, transportation and everything. I think that was how some American got hold of into financial details. It was a US based account, and someone cloned my husband's phone face and had a driver's license, an American driver's license, with which he withdrew everything in that account. And so on getting to the US, we were nearly stranded. But I tell you that my husband said he does not have a driver's license. It was investigated within 6 hours. Every kobo was paid back, and they traced the person who withdrew that money. That is what I'm not sure we can have here. There was no suing, there was no nothing. We got our money back. Almost, I can say, like immediately. So that was, maybe I didn't articulate it well.
Okay.
How do we get such prompt action in Nigeria? And I also do know that on one occasion, Diamond Bank, I can say here, an old woman's account was totally wiped because she's not literate, a landlady. Her money was taken, and I'm a journalist, we tried to wade in. Diamond Bank was tossing the woman up and down, and that case took like a year, though she got her money back.
Wow.
So, is there, and this like 2018, is there any improvement to that? That's what I was trying to, how do we get our money back without having to go to court?
Mr. Ayo can answer that, but I feel that there's more awareness now, and the banks know that Nigerians are not smiling. There's more, so they have to put their acts in order. I guess Mr. Ayo can just round it up. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
I can come in there. But before I forget, I wanted to ask, what happens when, you can answer later when I'm done, what happens when the password manager is now hacked? You said your password is safe with the password manager, but what now happens when that one is hacked? So just hold that one in one hand.
Okay.
Then let's come back to this. Yes, before now, most of our operations as in the banking system, actually most of them were manual. So when you look at how complex a banking system is and how everything is, so if investigations needs to be carried out, it takes months and months before you get feedback. But like now, as at this year, it takes far less. That's why even when you have what do they call this thing? Is it debit error? As in you want to do transfer, the money got hooked somewhere, or using your POS. Before now, it takes 3 to 6 months. But with the improvement, in some cases, it's 48 hours or 24 hours. In fact, instant, as at now that I know, for some banks, so I don't know if it's all banks, the money is reversed immediately into your account. So it shows how the level of improvement we've had in terms of banking errors. When a staff is found, that one I know for sure, when a staff of a bank is found to be liable, that is, we automatically is no more the staff, is now the bank that is at fault with the money that was taken from a customer's account. The bank refunds that money immediately. And if there are any perceived damages, the bank is liable to also settle. You don't even need to go to court. Why? For any report you bring, there is a desk where it is reported immediately to CBN, and CBN as a regulator would have their eyes on that case. So that's why the bank is liable to settle you. Then I know in some cases they don't just settle you, they also, as in return your money, sorry. So they don't just return your money. Where perceived liabilities are there, they also settle. That's one. Two, there is a portal now on CBN. Just that now I don't know this information has been available since last year, so I don't remember the detail, but it's on their website. You can find it. Any bank in Nigeria you have any issue with, just go and enter it there after you have reported to the bank. Once you do that, be rest assured CBN will take it up, and within the shortest, because as you are logging it in, thank God for automation, the bank too that you're logging down a complaint of are also getting it. And so based on that, within the shortest possible time, you will get feedback. I'm not saying we are there yet in terms of those American companies, but we are moving forward as a country. And we are light years ahead of a lot of other African countries and even some of these Asian countries. Nigeria, if you go abroad, is when you realize, as bad as it seems, we are doing very well. We are doing very well. compared to a
sure.
lot of even European countries in quotes. We are doing better than them. It's
Yes,
just
when
that
it
we
comes
are
to
not there
internet
yet.
banking. Yes.
Yeah, when it comes to banking, but we are not there yet. But we are making progress. The most important thing is that we are not static, we are moving forward. So, in respect of that, there are now then when you send emails to the bank, there is a customer complaint platform on the bank. Copy CBN. It's just that that email address, so I don't have it anymore. But there's that email. Once you copy CBN, once the bank even itself sees it, they will be on their toes, even if they decide to be slow before.
True.
So CBN is really working hard for all this bad publicity so that banking system can be trusted. Because like I said, the architecture of banking is built on trust. So CBN is really working hard to ensure that trust is still there. It's just that many things, if the bank is fully automated, there are still many things on CBN desk that is not automated. So the bank cannot refund you your money without a CBN approval. So it is based on that. It might now take longer than the 6 hours you mentioned, which I'm really excited with that. But you will get your money, and it will not be the 1 year like that old woman's case anymore. It will be less than that. In fact, far less. It's just that because of the process, some of them are still semi-automated. You won't get it immediately, but be rest assured you'll get it. And then if it's a bank staff that is found to be liable, the bank will go to prison, and you'll be compensated and get your money back. That I can assure you. So thank you. I hope that answers the question.
Very much so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Bruce, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Can you still take one more question? I don't know if anybody.
Yeah, Monday.
There's a hand. Monday, Emmanuel.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah. Monday, you are muted.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Right.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. I'm just wondering. The use of your BVN details being linked out there. I need to know what are the examples of how an hacker can use the details of your BVN to actually scam you or actually remove money from your accounts. I want a scenario on that. Thank you.
Okay. For that, but say no, your BVN is with your BVN they can be able to have access to the details of all your banks. And as I said earlier, your BVN also comes with most of your cards also attached to your banks. They might not need to go to your bank portal and actually remove your money. Most of your card details are attached to your BVN. Just your bank is there, so they'll find a way to get those details. What they need from you is for you to just tell them that OTP that has been sent. You get me? As the truth matter that the SCID that is in charge of financial crime, I don't want to play this scenario out for everyone, but I have an idea of how they do it. So once that is just what I want you to do, protect yourself. I know you want to know how they are doing it. I don't know why you know that information, but how they are doing it should not even concern you. How you need to protect yourself. Because once they have your BVN, your banks are there, your cards are attached to your BVN. Like if you're an InterSwitch right now, for every Verve card I have, InterSwitch has the details. Go and verify. InterSwitch has all the details of every of my Verve card. It's not left for me now. If I now say go and give out most of those cards are the PIN. Someone hacks me, I say InterSwitch. I should tell that it didn't not from us. So the OTP came from you, as Mr. said. So that's how your BVN works. Your banks are connected to your BVN, and those cards as well also connected to those banks. That's how they can leverage on that and see how they can pull out the OTP that will be sent to you. They want to use your card now to pay for an airline ticket, and they'll need an OTP, or that OTP sent to your phone. Can you send? Do not mistakenly send to them. They start the spending spree or the deducting spree. So it's left for you. The onus lies on you right now. Protect yourself. Forget what the criminals are doing. It's like saying, okay, let me see how I'll go and fight the terrorists. You protect yourself. Because fighting terrorists, it will be an endless war. You try and protect yourself. That's just my own simple advice. Is that okay, Mr. Monday?
Okay.
Okay,
Mr. Monday.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. So, Bruce, I think we were supposed to shut down by 1 o'clock. So this is 5 minutes past, although it has been a very engaging session and very enlightening session. So, but Bruce, the last question I asked, when the password manager is now hacked?
Okay,
Or is it
good. For the
possible,
past,
first of all? Then
no, see, anything is possible. If Pentagon can be hacked, anything is possible. Let's not kid ourselves. Well, I like look at the case of Israel and Hamas. They say they can't break that wall, but they broke it. So anything is impenetrable. As of now, I'm not sure people have complained about password manager. Because for you to be keeping someone's password, you know that you have to create serious encryption around your security. It's like now you're giving me your gold to keep for you. And my bank processes are not that secured. Anything happens, I'm liable. It's in the SLA agreement as well. When you want to download password manager, they're liable as well. Because that password could be for your banking app. It could be for your personal health records. So anything goes wrong, they're liable. For you to hold something in trust, you must make sure that you have serious encrypted security around that particular application. So your question, it can be hacked. Yes, it can be hacked. But as of now, I've not heard of any complaint. I guess they are doing their due diligence.
okay.
But we should not force it as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome,
Then, on a final note, I would like to let us know that I know of some banks. I will not mention their name because will be advertising for them. But what they do is they actually hire people like Bruce as ethical hackers. They are paying you to hack their system. Why? The more you try to hack it and the more it's impossible for them, then the more secure their system is. And so they have people that's their job, just try and be hacking. That's Nigerian banks, so don't think I'm talking of the American or abroad ones. Their job is just to be hacking that bank's software. They keep at it every day, every night, day in, day out, 24/7. They are trying to hack it so that the bank, if they find any flaw, the bank will now correct it. So that before the hacker, just like Bruce said, to catch a thief, you have to now think like a thief. In this case, it's not just think, even behave like a thief so that the bank's assets are protected. So some banks are doing that. But just like Bruce also said, the onus is on us. The bank will do their own. And it's not just banks. We've been talking bank. Sir and Ma, there's insurance company. Sir and Ma, the information you are giving the insurance company is also hackable and can also be used for some things. The information you are giving your personal information you are giving them, you have to protect it too. Joke has warned us, and it's something too that can be used for those of us that have stockbroking accounts. The information that your HMO is carrying about you. I think there was a recent story of HMO. Yeah, okay, in America, that was hacked, and the personal data, that's the medical records of some people who are now available, and the hacker said, come and pay, else we will publish your medical records, and some people were paying. That's how important medical records are. So HMO too, they are part of the system. Insurance is part of the system. Pension, your personal pension information, like that, your pension, your PIN number, you should keep it private too and keep it secure, because that your PIN number gives all the information about your pension records. And we don't know what anybody. The issue is these hackers are very creative and innovative. They keep coming up with different things. So you will feel that, is it not pension PIN and it's view only? There's no issue. No. It's view only by your own knowledge. You don't know what they now know and what they can do with it. So keep it safe. Keep all this, your personal information, safe, including your passwords, and then if possible, apply multi-factor authentication and every other form of sign-on, facial recognition, fingerprint, all of them, to further secure your system. And also mind who you give gone are those days you can just drop your phone anywhere. Mind who uses your phone. Be sure and careful of who uses your laptop. Bruce said we should connect our laptop to our browser so that it will ask for password. That's you that you are using password. How many people use password? Only a few people password their laptop, because as far as they are concerned, it's laptop. What will somebody do with it that I cannot prevent? But that means indirectly, what he was saying is password lock your laptop. Password lock it so that by the time it syncs to your browser, every other thing is locked up. It's very important too. So our laptops, our tabs, our phones, let us protect them. And let us mind who uses them, because they are now essential devices in the cybersecurity world that can make or mar our finances. And then let us mind the personal information we give to others. Some people don't see a big deal in sending someone somewhere and just give them their debit or credit card PIN, forgetting that that person can come tomorrow and use it against you. Then also, those you give your passwords. In fact, you shouldn't give anybody your password, really, anyway, although it's an arguable discussion, especially among spouses. But you shouldn't give anybody your password. Your password should be for you and you alone. Your PIN should be for you and you alone. Any other thing about who should have it is an argument for another day. So I'm not saying it's correct, but we are talking cybersecurity here. And for the cybersecurity world, that is how it should be. You should only be the one to have access to your financial information. And that is the only way you can protect yourself, and don't put your financial information out there. So in the light of this, we can never fully explore this topic, which is why for us, we will keep coming at it. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope it was good for you. And I hope you are leaving with something. So in line with that, we please fill the attendance so that we can send you the links to the videos and many other cybersecurity information and materials. We have a lot. Those that have been here before will tell you there are a lot of information we send out. That's one. Then two, we offer cybersecurity training. We offer cybersecurity governance consultancy, and we also help you with various forms of cybersecurity for your organizations, for your groups, and for your team. Then even for you personally, we can offer personal consultancies. So please reach out to us. I think our email is there. If it's not there, Somto, please put it there. Reach out to us. Our WhatsApp contacts will also be put there, and we'll be available for you to reach out to you or talk with you. Please reach out to us. And in the light of that, I wish us all a wonderful rest of your weekend and a good day. And I say thank you again to our facilitators, Dr. Bruce, Dr. Alabede, and Barrister Joke. Although I think the last two have left, but Bruce is still here. We are very grateful. He is a partner with us in COINBOX. In fact, he's the COINBOX team. So he's one of us. But I will never stop saying thank you, because anybody would have said no to this, but you chose to be with us on the team. So really, it is highly appreciated. David, you can instead of raising your hand, drop your question on the chat. We will get back to you on that, because everybody, you are free to leave, but you can drop further questions and inquiries on the chat. If not,
I'm not on the chat, sir. That is my problem.
No,
I don't
this
know
chat
the group.
here, the chat here now on the Google Meet, there's a chat place where they are dropping the email addresses and contact phone numbers. I don't know if you can see it.
I can't see it. That is I can't
you are not
access it.
You
Yes.
can't see it. You can't access it. Is there any other person that cannot see the messages being dropped on the chats now?
Okay, I guess, David, you might have to go to that place you see people's head, like you see 15. The box
Just
there,
click
you
on
click on it to the message will come up. To your right, you see.
Or that thing that looks like chat.
That chat.
Beside that 15 people, there's something that looks like chat with a dot there. Just click on it.
Okay. This is where we'll fill the form, right? I will send my.
Yes, that's where the link to the form is. Number one. Then number two, if you want to reach out to us, that's where they've dropped our contact details, phone number, email address, WhatsApp number, so that further engagement can be carried out.
All right, thank you.
Have you seen it now?
I've not seen the form, but I'll just drop my email and phone number.
Okay, no problem. No problem then. It's fine. It's not form now. Our contacts are there.
Okay. Yes, I've seen the contacts. But is the attendance form I was actually trying to.
The link is there, but they'll drop it now for you. They'll drop the link now for the attendance again now, so that you see it. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other last question or any feedback from anyone? The next event, this program, the next one is in February. I think we'll get back to you on the date. Next one is in February. We'll get back to you on the date. But we are open to partnership and sponsorship in
Yes,
case anyone is interested to partner with us or sponsor a portion, because we can do better than what we are doing now, but this is the best we can do for now. Although we are also improving, this is not how it was last time. And so, but it is partnership and sponsorship that will make it better than this.
Okay. I also would like you to be on my program, Tech Hub on Unilag FM, to talk more digital literacy. I've sent a message to Somto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
we will get back to you on that today so that we can conclude on that.
Okay, then.
It
was
thank
wonderful.
you, and thank you for the offer. Thank you very much.
All right, then. Okay.
Any other? So in the light of that, thank you very much. Ruben, please, thank you very much also. We really appreciate you and all you're doing.
Welcome.
Ruben
this is quite insightful.
Ruben is the innovation head, so he's the head running this thing. My own job is what I'm doing is just to talk. So, so thank you very much. Then Somto is our backbone. All those emails you are getting, all those messages, even your message now, like how you sent to Somto is the one scattering her head and her back.
Yes.
So
let's give it up to Somto.
Thank you, Somto. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Somto. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
this session. You and Bruce and to Dipo and everybody else. Joke. Thank you so much. Very interesting and enlightening.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. Bye.
You too. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.